Chapter 98. Tan Hong straightened his back and his expression became focused and serious. Chen Feier's eyes widened, revealing a touch of surprise in them. Zhen Zhen nodded gently, with a knowing smile on her lips, and a trace of joy of discovering a treasure. Lin Jijie was silent, and no one knew what he was thinking. The 1,500 audience at the scene were all quietly listening to Lu Chen singing, and no one made any noise. The style of this song, Life on a String, is very different from the previous In the Spring sung by Gao Feng. Although the lyrics are sad and nostalgic, the style of the song is not gloomy and depressed, but full of gentle affection. Lu Chen's interpretation of this song does not have any impassioned or heavy sadness. His singing is casual and even lazy, giving people the feeling of sitting alone on a bench on an autumn afternoon in an avenue covered with frosted red leaves, playing and singing to himself, telling passers-by his love story. Love walks and sings, I can't finish singing forever and forever on the empty road, covered with confusion. Willingly struggling, mixed feelings of hope, Indiana the end, it's still the same, you can't get the ending you want, isn't it? In the chorus, the mood has changed. It's a question and an answer. Big increase in the power of emotion. In all fairness, Life on a String is inferior to In the Spring in terms of level. It lacks the kind of passion and climax that makes people's scalp tingle and body tremble, so it's difficult to touch the hearts of the listeners. If it weren't for the title of the song that fits, Singing China, Lu Chen might not have chosen it as the song to sing in the first qualifying round. But it's still a good work. At least it's nice to listen to and can show off his talent. And the audience is very comfortable to listen to, just enough to calm the mood fluctuations caused by listening to In the Spring just now. It's better to be like this, you and I can forget about it. Everyone is afraid of complexity, live a simple life alone. After a full 4 minutes, Lu Chen finished singing Life on a String. There was a warm applause in the studio, but it was not as passionate as before. Only a few audience members stood up. The 4 judges also applauded at the same time, but none of them stood up. The applause soon died down. Chen Feier said first, Lu Chen, I like this song very much. You are a talented singer and composer, so I'm happy to give you full marks. The audience applauded again. Lu Chen bowed and said, Thank you, Teacher Chen. The Queen of Sweet Songs was really beautiful, and she really liked this song. She was not hypocritical and pretentious. Therefore, she gave Lu Chen a very good evaluation and passed it with full marks. However, Lu Chen felt that his words seemed a little strange. Zhen Zhen said, Nowadays in the domestic pop music world, there are not many people who can really sink down to create, especially young people. But you let me see the future of the power of originality. I hope you will continue to work hard and create better and more outstanding works. Like Feier, I will also give you full marks. Thank you, Teacher Zhen Zhen. At this moment, Tan Hong coughed twice and asked, Do you have any other works? Lu Chen nodded. Yes. Tan Hong's eyes lit up and he asked, Can you sing another song? In the same talent contest, some contestants were kicked off the stage by 4 red lights before they finished singing half a song, while others sang the whole song, and continued to stay on the stage to communicate with the superstar judges. Strength dictated everything. Tan Hong himself was an excellent singer-songwriter. His attitude towards originality was always very serious. Therefore, he did not give full marks to Lu Chen just because he was handsome and his song was good like Chen Feier. He paid more attention to the latter's talent. In the circle, Tan Hong also had a good reputation for promoting the younger generation. He was giving Lu Chen a chance to show himself. Lu Chen hesitated for a moment. Seeing this, Chen Feier said quickly, Brother Tan, why don't you let him sing other works in the semi-final? Lu Chen's hesitation made her misunderstand that Lu Chen could not come up with a better song than Life on a String. As a result, Tan Hong was disappointed and his popularity was affected. Although this was a small matter, it should be known that the qualifying contest was also broadcast live to the national audience. Lu Chen's previous performance points were already very high, but if his other works were not good enough and his singing was not satisfactory, he would lose points. Chen Feier was meticulous and had a good impression of Lu Chen, so she reminded him tactfully. Tan Hong came to his senses and said, Well, it would be better to sing it in the semi-final. He was purely happy to see Lu Chen's talent, and forgot for a moment that this was a talent show. It would be against the rules to let Lu Chen sing another original song. To everyone's surprise, Lu Chen replied, Teacher Tan, Teacher Chen, in fact I have another work, which has been sung by contestant 0029 before. Contestant 0029? The 4 judges and more than 1,000 people in the audience were all stunned. What kind of work was this? Zhen Zhen's reaction was the quickest. She asked in an incredulous tone. You said you wrote in the spring ? As the editor-in-chief of Pop Music magazine, Zhen Zhen's question was not up to standard, but everyone could understand her shock. Everyone felt that it was inconceivable. The title song of the Bionics' debut album, In the Spring, a big hit both inside and outside the circle, has just been covered by Gao Feng and won countless acclaim. Moreover, it is such a vicissitudes and profound work. Unexpectedly, it was written by the young Lu Chen? Many people couldn't believe it, and there was an uproar in the studio. Tan Hong and Chen Feier looked at each other. Neither of them thought that Lu Chen was lying. Therefore, as the first reality talent show of Beijing television, Singing China was broadcast not only to China, but also to most of Asia, and its influence was bound to be great. If he lied, then the lie would be too easy to be exposed. How would he have the face to mix in the circle in the future? Lu Chen doesn't look like a person who wants to destroy his own future here, so what he said must be true. Although it's inconceivable, it's the truth. Lin Jijie suddenly said. I remember. The Bionics in the Spring was written and composed by Lu Chen, and their other 2 songs, I Want to Have a Home and A Strong Reason, are also your works. Lin Jijie is the music director of Flying Stone Records. He has always paid high attention to the new trends and new works in the industry, so he immediately recalled it. Lu Chen smiled and said, The Bionics and I used to sing in Forget Grass Bar in Hohai. He also made a small advertisement for Forget Grass Bar, which could be regarded as a favor to Chen Jianhao. Chen Feier murmured, That's great. She has heard all 3 songs by the Bionics, and her favorite is the song I Want to Have a Home. Unexpectedly, they were all written by Lu Chen. The opening competition of Singing China really opened a big treasure. Tan Hong nodded vigorously. Lin Jijie shook his head with a wry smile. He continued, Lu Chen, I must apologize to you. Because I thought you were the kind of singer who likes to please the public with claptrap. Now I know I was wrong, so in order to make up for my mistake, I've decided. Before his voice fell, his right hand suddenly raised high and slammed down heavily towards the big golden button in the middle of the judges' table. The deafening sound resounded through the whole studio, accompanied by the muffled sound of bang bang bang. Countless colorful streamers fell from the high ceiling, filling the scene with a joyful and festive atmosphere. On the background screen of the big stage, the huge golden words, Congratulations on advancing to the top 32, appeared at the same time. Directly promoted. Lu Chen didn't need to participate in the semifinals, and was directly promoted to the top 32. Chapter 99. July 10th, 7:30 in the evening. Beijing television. The daily fixed 7 o'clock current affairs news has just ended, and the live broadcast of Singing China qualifying competition officially began, attracting a large number of viewers to lock the channel to watch. Since 2008, domestic film and television variety shows have exploded, and a large number of reality show competitions have been crowded on the screen, forming an extremely competitive Red Sea, which has inevitably caused the audience's aesthetic fatigue. Under the survival of the fittest, many shoddy or false reality shows have been axed one after another, and what survives are basically fine productions. And as a veteran TV station, Beijing Satellite TV has launched its first reality talent show Singing China, which has also aroused a high degree of attention inside and outside the circle. The previous audition session had a ratings as high as 3.27%, and tonight's live qualifying competition will undoubtedly reach a new high. Like all other satellite TV stations, Beijing Television also has a live webcast channel, which broadcasts the program content to hundreds of millions of netizens simultaneously, taking into account the 2 most important media, TV screen and computer screen. And just tonight, the program broadcast by Beijing Television Network channel was linked to Whale TV's Lu Fei live broadcast room, with more than 500,000 fish fans watching online. It's really rare for more than 500,000 netizens to gather in the webcast room to watch live TV. It should be known that most people have a TV at home, and the TV viewing experience is undoubtedly far better than the computer network. But the internet has an advantage that TV can't match, that is, interactive communication. As soon as the logo of Singing China appeared on the screen, Lu Fei's live broadcast room was already very lively. It's starting, wife, come and see the anchor. Where's the anchor now? Don't talk nonsense. Do you know what time Lu Fei will go on stage? I'm looking forward to his singing. Do you think the anchor can get the semi-final pass card? Isn't that nonsense? If our General Lu can't do it, who else can? I've seen the audition before. The anchor is very handsome. According to the most reliable news, the anchor will go on stage at 8:35 on time. Welcome to pay attention and smash fish balls. Really? The barrage was densely brushed, and everyone's biggest concern was when Lu Chen would appear. They couldn't wait to see Lu Chen's debut on the big stage. Lu Chen's participation in the Singing China talent show was announced early in the live broadcast room, Fish Nest and Lu Jiejun Group, and received the support of the vast majority of fans. Everyone was looking forward to seeing him perform even more brilliantly in the wider world. Tonight's qualifier was very important. In addition, it was a Friday night, so there were a lot of people online. Of course, Li Feiyu was the host of Lu Chen's stream. Although Peter Pan had stopped broadcasting a long time ago, he still had some skills. He relied on his eloquence as a salesman to make jokes without revealing his face, bringing the atmosphere of the live broadcast room to a good level. From 7 o'clock till now, in just half an hour, he had bought 3 tea of fish balls for Lu Chen. Many small anchors of Whale TV have worked hard for a year or two of live broadcasting, and have paid a lot of traffic and electricity fees themselves, but they may not be able to earn so many fish balls. I repeat, our Lu Feida's number is 0030. Li Feiyu said aloud. His order of appearance must be at the back, and I don't know the exact time. So don't ask the same question again. I will inform you immediately if there is the latest news. Let's watch the live show first. In online live broadcasting, female anchors, especially beautiful female anchors, have many advantages over male anchors. Even if they cook and wash clothes every day, they can attract a large number of otaku attention. Among male anchors, game anchors are much better than life and entertainment anchors. Nowadays, Lu Chen is a popular entertainment anchor in Whale TV, but he is still a lot worse than popular game anchors like Xiao Gu, even if he once defeated the latter in the PK theme show. As a male anchor, sitting in front of the screen and singing by himself, although there is the support of original songs, the audience will still have aesthetic fatigue, which is not as strong as the freshness and excitement of life's jungling adventure. It is also not as exciting as the game live broadcast, and has a natural disadvantage. Lu Chen is very clear about this, so he regards Whale TV as a springboard in his life. He has no idea of sticking to his anchor career for a long time, and at most, he will stick to it until the end of the time stipulated in the contract. On the other hand, he is also looking for new changes. For example, the live broadcast of Light Blue Music Carnival last time is a good form. This time, the Singing China talent show can also stimulate the fans' G-spot and bring more attention. Lu Chen even thought about whether he could bring the live broadcast into the backstage of Beijing television, but they didn't allow it at all. They couldn't even take pictures, let alone video shooting. So he changed the show to a live broadcast and asked Li Feiyu to host it. And the fans' response was still very warm and enthusiastic, especially when the first judge appeared. Tan Hong. It's actually Tan Hong, my male god. Beijing television is really awesome. They actually invited Tan Hong to be a judge. His strength is great. I remember that the anchor Big has sung several Tan Hong songs. Do you think he will sing it again in the evening? It's best if he can sing it, because Tan Hong is a judge. Don't talk nonsense. General Lu will definitely sing an original song. And he can still conquer Heavenly King Tan. Weekly asking, who is Tan Hong? In addition to the excited cheers, there are also stupid and cute guys who ask stupid and cute questions. As a result, they were scolded to pieces on the spot. You don't even know Tan Hong? Revealing your age, Come and eat the pill. Tan Hong has been in the music industry for more than 20 years, and his influence is mainly concentrated in the post-70s and post-80s people. There are also a lot of post-90s people who know about him, and the post-00s are much worse. The latter two are more concerned about the popular male and female group idols, Little Fresh Meat. Chen Feier, who appeared after Tan Hong, also set off a wave of joy and praise in the live broadcast room. Goddess. Tan Hong plus Chen Feier, a dream judge combination. Not to mention anything else, just for these two, I will finish watching the live broadcast tonight. Finish watching +1. Do you think Chen Feier will like our anchor big? Yes, he will definitely like him. Haha. As for the third judge, Zhen Zhen, editor-in-chief of Pop Music magazine, and the fourth judge, Lin Jijie, music director of Flying Stone Records, were magnificently ignored by everyone. Some people even asked, are these two guys here to make up the numbers? Fortunately, Zhen Zhen and Lin Jijie don't watch the live broadcast, otherwise they will definitely vomit blood. We are really not passers-by. Since contestant 0001 came on stage, the qualifying round of Singing China has continued. The atmosphere in Lu Fei's live broadcast room tends to be peaceful, and there are a lot less bullet screen comments, most of which are comments on the contestants. Compared with the comments of the live judges, the bullet screen comments are undoubtedly much more vicious. Until contestant 0029, Gao Feng, came on stage. His song In the Spring instantly reignited the hot atmosphere in the live broadcast room. In the Spring? Isn't that the song written by our Lu Feida? Yes, it was written by our anchor for the Bionics. There are a total of 3 songs, all of which are on the original list. Lu Feida is mighty. It's very well sung, and it's also our General Lu's song. It's really well written. Ha ha ha, it's so interesting. Next is our Lu Feida's turn. He actually covered his song in the front. It's not that the program team specially arranged it, is it? It's possible, otherwise it would be too much of a coincidence. Interesting. Excited. Some time ago, the Bionics mini-album hit the charts, and Lu Chen advertised in the live broadcast room, calling on everyone to support it. Therefore, many people know the 3 songs in the spring, I Want to Have a Home, and Reason to Be Strong. They were all written by Lu Chen. Among them, In the Spring, Lu Chen even sang it himself in the live broadcast. Therefore, when they saw that the contestant in front of him actually chose this song to participate in the competition, everyone was overjoyed. But that's not the point. The point is that after Gao Feng finished singing, Lu Chen came on stage. Although the song Life on a String did not meet the highest requirements of fans, it was worth everyone's wait. However, the real surprise was yet to come. Lu Chen unexpectedly got Lin Jijie's direct promotion golden Easter egg. Chapter 100. The golden button placed in the middle of the judge's seat is a symbol of luck and strength, and a surprise Easter egg. According to the rules of Singing China, the 4 judges have a chance to press it once in the qualifying round to send a contestant directly to the top 32, and in the semi-finals and promotion round, they can press it again to resurrect an eliminated contestant. A judge has 2 privileges, no more. Lin Jijie pressed the golden button and gave the big Easter egg he held to Lu Chen. Lu Chen was lucky to skip the semifinals and became the first contestant to enter the top 32 in Beijing singing area. Wow. Chen Feier was so surprised that he couldn't close his mouth and said with a smile, Big brother Jijie, you're really good. Tan Hong laughed and gave Lin Jijie a thumbs up. Zhen Zhen stood up and led the audience to applaud, cheering for Lu Chen and Lin Jijie's apology. With Lin Jijie's identity and status in the industry, even if he has any opinions about Lu Chen, he doesn't need to say or explain anything at all. The act of apologizing undoubtedly shows his magnanimity. Lu Chen was also very surprised, but he reacted quickly. He immediately bowed and said, Thank you, Teacher Lin. All the audience stood up, and the warm and enthusiastic applause was as fierce as a summer storm. When this scene appeared on the screen of Lu Fei's live broadcasting room, Lu Chen's fans were all ignited. China's good judge. Lu Feida is mighty, he went straight to the top 32. Don't say anything, come and smash the fish balls. I'll take the lead first, everyone keep up. The people of Shanghai send a congratulatory message, congratulating the anchor on advancing to the top 32. Let's congratulate you. Who is this judge? We must praise him. Lin Jijie, the music director of Flying Stone Records, is also a very powerful figure. Do you think Lu Feida will release an album in Flying Stone? It's very possible. I'm looking forward to the host's first album. It's beautiful just thinking about it. Because of this golden Easter egg, many people became fans of Lin Jijie, and they even had higher expectations for him. Fish balls were thrown out as if they were free. Dozens and hundreds of combos appeared frequently, filling the entire screen. The local tycoons even launched more than a dozen aircraft carriers in one breath, pushing the atmosphere of the live broadcast to the climax. Li Feiyu, the host of the live broadcast, was even more passionate. He shouted until his throat was hoarse. It was as if he was the one who had won and was proud of it. The scene of Lu Chen winning a place in the top 32 with the help of a golden Easter egg appeared on the TV screens of millions of households in China, and the computer screens of netizens, making countless people remember his name. Yeezy, you really have a good eye. In the dormitory area of Beijing Normal University, in dormitory 305, building 7, several girls were watching the live broadcast of the Singing China qualifying round on a laptop. One of the girls smiled and said to Yi Zitong, who was sitting on the edge of the bed, "This is a potential stock. He is handsome and talented. You have to take advantage of him. Don't let others take him away. Otherwise, it will be too late for you to cry." Yi Zitong said shyly, "What potential stock? I'm just an ordinary friend with him. Whoever wants to grab him can grab him." She knew that Lu Chen would participate in the Singing China talent competition last week. Today, she stayed in front of the computer early to watch the live broadcast, which attracted her classmates in the dormitory to gather around to watch the fun. Yi Zitong didn't want to be exposed, but there was a guy around her who knew everything, so everyone knew. Zhuo Xintian swallowed the apple she was chewing in her mouth and said with a smile, "You're just being stubborn. Who left her sister a few days ago and sneaked out on a date? I haven't settled this debt with you yet." Last time, Yi Zitong and Lu Chen went to the skating rink to skate. When Yi Zitong came back, she was brutally forced to confess by Zhuo Xintian. She had to tell the truth, and then was classified as evidence for seriously damaging her best friend's relationship. Yi Zitong helplessly touched her forehead with her hand and said, "Didn't I invite you to eat Haagen-Dazs? You want to bribe me with just 2 cups of ice cream?" Zhuo Xintian pinched Yi Zitong's face and said proudly, "Girl, you're dreaming." Yi Zitong grabbed her thief's hand and said with a smile, "Then add 2 more cups. It'll be really beautiful to let you eat until you become a big fat girl." Ah. Zhuo Xintian, who had recently gained 2 kilograms of weight, jumped up like a wild cat whose tail had been stepped on. She threw Yi Zitong on the bed and cried, "I don't want to eat it. I don't want to get fat." In the small dormitory, the 2 women's crisp laughter suddenly sounded. Yi Zitong and Zhuo Xintian were playing, but in her heart, she thought of Lu Chen. She didn't know what he was doing at this moment. Was he celebrating the victory? Alone, or with someone else? She suddenly had an urge to call Lu Chen immediately, but she was helplessly suppressed by Zhuo Xintian. When Lu Chen came out of the Beijing television broadcasting building, it was already 10 o'clock in the evening. After winning the golden egg and winning the first place in the top 32, he accepted a separate interview with Beijing television after stepping off the stage, mainly talking about his music experience, music dreams, promotion thoughts, and so on. Previously, Lu Chen had already shot a short VCR video, but as the first contestant to advance to the top 32 of the Beijing singing area, he had a lot of explosive points, so it was specially res-hot. In front of the camera, Lu Chen performed well as always, talking with confidence and assurance without the slightest stage fright. The reporters who visited him all praised him as a star, and wished Lu Chen to win the competition for the top 32 in the next week. After the interview, it was naturally late. Standing at the door, facing the brightly lit long street ahead of him, Lu Chen took out his mobile phone and turned it on. During the interview just now, he turned off his mobile phone out of courtesy. There were already many unread messages in QQ and QQ, all of which were congratulatory messages from friends and fans. Because the recording and broadcast were 1 hour apart, the messages were newly received. Lu Chen selected a few important messages and replied respectively, including Yi Zitong. After replying to the message, he called back a missed call. The cell phone rang for 3 seconds, and Chen Jianhao's hearty laughter came from the other side. Lu Chen, congratulations. Thank you, Lu Chen said with a smile. Brother Kenho, I advertised your bar. Chen Jianhao said, I saw it. The advertisement was good, but not only for me but also for you. Lu Chen has a 5% share in Forget Grass Bar. Lu Chen laughed. Chen Jianhao said, your song was written well in the qualifier. What song are you going to choose for the top 32? Lu Chen's heart moved and he asked, Brother Kenho, do you have any good suggestions? Chen Jianhao replied, I think you are very good. It's also an original work and you sing very well. Lu Chen vaguely understood and said with a smile, well, I'll listen to Brother Kenho. Since Lu Chen participated in the talent show, the owner of Forget Grass Bar has become a bit mysterious. But Lu Chen believed that he would not harm him. Chen Jianhao smiled. That's good. Remember to come to the bar when you have time. A lot of guests are asking about you. After chatting with Chen Jianhao for a while, Lu Chen ended the call and called Li Feiyu. De Chen. As soon as he heard his voice, Lu Chen was immediately shocked. Damn, what's wrong with your throat? Peter Pan's voice was very hoarse and unpleasant. It sounded like his vocal cords were rubbed hard by rough sandpaper. Li Fei cackled and said, I'm so happy today that my voice is hoarse from all the shouting. De Chun, do you know how much we got for the live broadcast tonight? 70 T, a whole 70 T. He was obviously very excited. Regardless of his throat, he loudly reported the good news to Lu Chen. Most of them are ordinary Lu Jiejun fans. A lot of fishballs. For any live broadcasting platform including Whale TV, the main force of tipping are local tyrants or high-level fans, but the power of ordinary fans cannot be underestimated. Even if 1/10 of hundreds of thousands of fans tipped 100 fishballs, it would still be a great amount. And 100 or 200 fishballs, as long as you do free tasks on the website, it is still easy to accumulate. This is undoubtedly a congratulatory gift for Lu Chen from the vast number of fish fans. Okay, you don't have to say any more. Lu Chen said decisively. I'm coming over now. Let's meet at the old place. Chapter 101. A plate of spicy fried snails, a plate of salt and pepper crayfish, a plate of tender fried beef willow and vinegar shredded potatoes. 4 simple dishes, with some peanuts and cucumbers. Lu Chen and Li Feiyu each carried 2 bundles of beer, sat opposite each other and drank, celebrating the success of the evening. Li Feiyu drank very happily, and in the blink of an eye, he drank a bottle. He put the empty bottle heavily on the table, wiped the foam from the corner of his mouth, and said loudly, Great! Lu Chen said with a smile, It's good to feel good. Li Feiyu took a long sigh of relief and said, It's really great. De Chen, you don't know. I've been doing live broadcasting for a long time, but I've never been as happy as I was tonight. I have no regrets. Lu Chen thought for a moment and asked, Li Gu, if I open a studio, would you like to help me? You open a studio? Li Feiyu shivered all over and his eyes lit up. Really? Lu Chen nodded heavily. Really? Opening a studio is Lu Chen's long-standing idea, but the time was not ripe before, so he has always suppressed the idea at the bottom of his heart, and has not talked about it to many people. But now the situation is different. He has gone to a bigger stage and circle. In the foreseeable future, his work will become busier and busier, and he can't just rely on himself to do it. For example, tonight's live webcast, which relied on Li Feiyu's help, earned a lot of income. However, there are still many competitions behind Singing China. Lu Chen's goal is the highest crown. He can't let Li Feiyu help him for nothing every time, can he? Although Li Feiyu doesn't care, and is even very happy, Lu Chen wants to solve the problem once and for all. The best way is to set up a personal studio and set up his own team. In fact, many celebrities, after debuting and becoming famous, would often break away from their contracted companies to set up their own studios, and then completely control their future in their own hands. For example, Tan Hong and Chen Feier. Lu Chen just skipped the middle process and took control of his own fate in advance. Of course, Lu Chen did not have the strength and connections of those celebrities, so it would definitely be difficult at the beginning, but as the saying goes, where there is a will, there is a way. Relying on the precious wealth from the dream world, he was already standing on the shoulders of giants. For the future, Lu Chen was full of confidence. As for his agent, Lu Chen chose his sister, Lu Shi, and Li Feiyu was suitable to be his assistant, helping him deal with the complicated daily affairs so that he could focus more time and energy on his music and acting career. After careful consideration, Lu Chen sincerely extended an invitation to Li Feiyu. It was not an impromptu idea. Seeing Lu Chen's serious attitude, Li Feiyu was finally sure that he was not joking. Peter Pan hesitated for a moment. He swallowed his saliva, suddenly raised his hand and slapped the table. He said resolutely, "Chen, if you want me, then I'll do it. I can do hard work. This job is not interesting at all now. I've wanted to quit for a long time, damn it." At present, car sales in the market were not good. The 4S store that Li Feiyu worked for was not a popular brand, and as a salesperson, he earned money by commission, so it had a great impact on his income. Even if Lu Chen did not invite him, he also planned to change jobs. Lu Chen said, "Then it's settled. Don't be too anxious. You first go through the resignation procedures, and then come to help me. The first step is to rent a suitable office and get the license approved. The second step is to slowly fill in the staff." He planned to do it step by step. He would not spread the scene too much at once, so as to reduce the pressure on the financial side. As for the salary, it will be the same as your level in the 4S store. How about a bonus? Because he had already thought about it, Lu Chen's thinking was very clear. Li Feiyu smiled. That's very good. The two had known each other for a long time and knew each other well. He believed that Lu Chen would not let him suffer a loss. As he spoke, he did not know what he thought of. His expression became coy, as if he wanted to say something but did not dare to say it. Lu Chen smiled and said, "Do you want me to invite Sister Xiaomei?" If there was anything in the 4S store that Peter Pan could not give up, it was undoubtedly Sister Xiaomei. Li Feiyu's infatuation with Chen Xiaomei had never changed. Being exposed by Lu Chen, Li Feiyu's face turned red. He scratched his head in embarrassment and said, "I think so. If it is difficult." "There's nothing difficult about it." Lu Chen interrupted. "Since a studio is open, there must be a receptionist at the front desk. If Sister Xiaomei is willing to come to my small place, then I will definitely welcome her." Li Feiyu was immediately relieved. She should come. There are many customers in the 4S store who are always lecherous. Lu Chen smiled, opened a can of beer and said to him, "Happy cooperation." Happy cooperation. On the afternoon of July 11th, Blue Sky Creative Park, Nirvana Studios. Lu Chen's and Wang Changxing's hands were firmly held together, and under their hands was a new contract that had just been signed. The day after the end of the first qualifying round of Singing China, he came to Nirvana Studios again, and handed over all 10 songs of his debut album to this unknown studio in the industry to complete. Compared with the previous single arrangement and accompaniment recording, this list is undoubtedly much larger. The contract amount is 100,000 yuan. It's still 10,000 yuan a song, but because it's a complete album, and Lu Chen's singing recording, the requirements are much higher, and the production cycle is also big extension. After the last cooperation, Lu Chen has enough trust in Nirvana Studios. He appreciates the other party's serious and professional work attitude, so he will entrust such an important task to the latter. Lu Chen's plan is to synchronize the production of new songs with the Singing China competition, use this excellent platform to promote his work, and finally officially launch his debut album to the market. Love in the Wind. His requirement for Nirvana Studios is quality. Even if it's not as good as Tianjai Workshop, it can't be too bad. Wang Changsheng, the manager of Nirvana Studios, is simply grateful. "Thank you," Lu Chen said. "I'd like to thank you too. The arrangement of walking and singing is very good." Wang Changsheng smiled and narrowed his eyes. "I watched the qualifying round last night. Mr. Lu, your performance was so good. I'm sorry. I forgot to congratulate you on advancing to the top 32 just now." Lu Chen said, "If Manager Wang feels sorry, can you do me a favor? Wang Changxing was stunned, and then understood and said, "No problem, no problem. Just say it. As long as I can help, I will try my best to complete it." Although Wang Changxing is not a very astute manager, he can also see how strong Lu Chen's potential is. If such a customer is firmly grasped, then Nirvana Studios can not only get rid of the current predicament, but also have the opportunity to soar into the sky. Just now, at the moment when the new contract was signed, manager Wang wanted to marry his daughter to Lu Chen. For this studio, he really worried his heart out. Lu Chen said with a smile, "It's not that serious. I'm going to rent an office in the Blue Sky Creative Park and open a personal music studio. An area of 100 to 200 square meters is enough. Manager Wang is familiar with this area. Can you help me keep an eye on it?" Nowadays, it is very popular for singers and actors to open personal studios, but they are all big stars in the industry. Lu Chen also wants to open a music studio, which more or less shocked Wang Changxing. However, there is obviously no competition between Lu Chen's personal music studio and Nirvana Studios. Otherwise, he would not need to produce his album in Nirvana Studios, nor would he ask Wang Changxing for help. The two studios can cooperate better. After Wang Changxing came to his senses, he immediately said, "No problem, no problem. I will help you find the most suitable office. We will be neighbors in the future, hee." As he said this, he laughed. Lu Chen nodded, but his mind flew farther away. Chapter 102. Loneliness was a person's revelry, and revelry was the loneliness of a group of people. The Lost Bar was a lonely nightclub that was hidden in the depths of Sanlitun in the capital city. Other than insiders, not many ordinary people knew about this bar. Although it had a bar signboard, it was actually a real nightclub. There was a big difference between the two. The nightclub provided drinks, food, space, and facilities for the guests to eat, drink, and play to their heart's content. It provided dreamlike enjoyment and paid more attention to the entertainment experience. There were many nightclubs in Sanlitun, but in terms of quality and strength, none could compare to the Lost Bar. However, ordinary guests couldn't enter because it implemented a membership system. Every night, the parking lot outside the Lost Bar was always filled with all kinds of luxury cars and sports cars. Mercedes-Benz and BMWs were rare here. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Maserati, Porsche, and so on were the mainstream. Just after 10 o'clock, a four-door Porsche F17 silently parked in the VIP parking lot. This all-electric luxury sports car was a new product launched by Porsche this year. The body of the car gathered a large number of this old car company's latest technological achievements. It could travel more than 700 kilometers on a single charge, and it only needed 3.5 seconds to accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers. The standard model cost as high as 5 million. Its biggest characteristic was that it was quiet, like a cheetah in the jungle. When it pounced on its prey, it was silent but extremely fast. It contained a fatal power that made people tremble. Therefore, as soon as the F-17 was launched, it won the favor of young tycoons, and orders were lined up until 2018. In Beijing, there were no more than 10 Porsche F-17s. The shiny car door opened, and 5 young people filed out, walking toward the entrance of the Lost Bar. The man walking at the front was in his 20s, about 1.75 meters tall, had short hair, and looked very spirited. He was wearing a set of white casual clothes. Even his trousers and shoes were obviously custom-made, and there were no brands on them. "Good evening, Li Xiao." The waiter in charge of guarding the door bowed, and at the same time reached out to open the glass door. The man in white handed over a red note and asked, "Have Sa Jiahao and the others arrived yet? Where's Sister Fanny?" The waiter grasped the notes in his hand with great familiarity and answered attentively, "Young Master Sa and the others arrived half an hour ago. Miss Fanny came a little later, but they're already inside." The man in white nodded and strode into the bar. "Ah, look who's here." As soon as he walked in, he was immediately discovered. "Isn't this our third young master Li Mubai?" His teasing voice even drowned out the live music and clearly reached the ears of the people around him. "I heard that you recently started playing in a band again. Are you here to embarrass yourself?" The one who stopped Li Mubai's way was a man in black t-shirt of the same age. His dress was undoubtedly much more fashionable than the former. He wore various silver ornaments with religious symbols and 3 diamond earrings in his left ear. He was completely a fashionable man in Japan and South Korea. The fashionable man was not as tall as Li Mubai. When he spoke, he raised his head and raised his nose to the sky, so he looked quite arrogant. Li Mubai couldn't help laughing and said, "Sa Jiahao, it's better for me to play in a band than for you to play as a female anchor, right? By the way, I haven't thanked you for the 100,000 yuan you lost to me last time. It's just right for me to install the interior of my new car. The lambskin cushion is very comfortable to step on." This man in black t-shirt, Sa Jiahao, was Earthies who gambled with Li Mubai in the last PK theme show competition on Whale TV. Because Lu Chen, who was supported by Li Mubai, won the second place, he defeated his opponent. And the relationship between Sa Jiahao and the female anchor, Yu Gij, which he supported, Li Mubai knew very well. "I don't know what you're talking about." Sa Jiahao suddenly looked like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He looked guiltily at the woman who was walking towards them not far away and said disdainfully, 100,000 yuan is nothing. It's not even enough for me to eat a meal. Only you treat it like a treasure, huh? Li Mubai was too lazy to pay any more attention to him, and went straight to the woman who had just come over. "Sister Fanny." The woman named Fanny has an outstanding appearance. Her long hair is shoulder length and her skin is as white as snow. Her Chanel summer dress makes her look very ladylike. Her pair of soul-stirring eyes are full of autumn ripples, as if they could speak. "Why do you two always quarrel when you see each other?" she rebuked. "If you keep doing this, Xiaoqian and I will leave and let you play by yourselves." Li Mubai quickly raised his hands and said, "I know I was wrong. I won't quarrel with that idiot." "Who are you calling an idiot?" Sa Jiahao, who was behind, jumped up and glared at Li Mubai fiercely. Li Mubai chuckled and pretended not to see Fanny's reproachful eyes. He greeted the girl next to the ladder. "Sister Xiaoqian, long time no see. Now that you're back, will you go to America again in the future?" The girl was about 18 or 19 years old. She had blood-red makeup on and her hair was unkempt, just like a legendary vampire. She should be very beautiful, but it's a pity that her overly rich and mature clothes covered her youthful appearance. Instead, it gave people a feeling that she was neither fish nor fowl. She exuded a decadent aura inside and out. "Call me Chen Qian." The vampire girl rolled her eyes big and said, "I'm not that familiar with you, but I can tell you that Sister Fanny and I don't plan to go back to that sh*T-toy place in America." "Are you very happy?" "Very happy," Li Mubai answered straightforwardly, staring at Fanny with a hint of passion in his eyes. In terms of relationship, there was no doubt that Li Mubai was closer to Chen Qian, but he liked this beautiful and gentle woman in front of him. Fanny's pretty face blushed under his bold stare, and she looked even more lovely. F***ck. Sa Jiahao was unhappy, extremely unhappy. He had worked hard to organize the party at the Lost Bar in the evening for Fanny, who had just returned from abroad. As a result, the limelight was stolen by Li Mubai. It was simply unbearable. However, quarreling with Li Mubai had proven to be a very stupid behavior. Sa Jiahao suddenly had an idea. He suddenly jumped to the T-shaped stage in the middle of the bar, and at the same time, signaled the live band to stop the performance. Taking the microphone, he said loudly, "Brothers and sisters, tonight's party is held for Miss Fanny and Miss Chen Qian, who have just returned from abroad. So, let us raise our glasses together, and wish the two ladies eternal youth and beauty." Cheers. The men and women in the bar all raised their glasses. The members of the Lost Bar were either rich or respectable, and they were basically very young. They had their own special circle in Beijing, and not anyone could casually squeeze into it. This nightclub was actually the entertainment point of this circle. It often held all kinds of carnival parties. Its controlling shareholders were all big brothers and sisters in the circle. Sa Jiahao's status in the circle was not high, but he was the initiator of tonight's party, so everyone gave him face. Fanny also smiled and took a sip of the cocktail. Taking advantage of the good atmosphere, Sa Jiahao continued, "Originally, I prepared a lot of programs for the two ladies tonight. It just so happens that our third young master Li Mubai is here. Everyone knows that he has been playing with a band recently, and he brought his band members. Why don't we let Li Xiao sing a song for Miss Fanny and Miss Chen Qian first? Support. The people present basically knew the grievances between Sa Jiahao and Li Mubai. There were many people who wished for the world to be in chaos, and they couldn't wait for the two to fight directly. How could they not support it? Sa Jiahao smiled proudly and continued, "But who is our Li Xiao? If he sang someone else's song, it would be too boring and insincere. So let him sing a song he wrote himself. What do you guys think? He was lying in ambush here." Good. This time, there were more people who applauded. It wasn't that Li Mubai's popularity was too bad, and everyone wanted to see him make a fool of himself. It was that the guests at night were basically invited by Sa Jiahao, and they had a better relationship with the latter. Fanny couldn't help but frown. She knew that Li Mubai loved to have fun, but he really didn't have any talent in music composition. Sa Jiahao wanted Li Mubai to sing his own work. Wasn't that forcing him? She was about to dissuade him, but Chen Qian clapped her hands and said, Okay. Li Mubai, you go up quickly." Everyone's eyes were instantly focused on Li Mubai. Chapter 103. Li Mubai's expression was a bit strange. Usually in such a case, with the temper and character of the third young master of the Li family, first of all, he will certainly not be knocked out and swallow his teeth into his stomach, let alone bite the bullet and step into Sa Jiahao's trap. 9 out of 10 he will directly go up and fight with the latter first. Even if he messes up the party at night, he will not give his opponent a chance to slap his face. But Li Mubai didn't fly into a rage out of humiliation, nor did he retort. He looked at Sa Jiahao on the stage, with a faint smile on his face, and asked unhurriedly, "Sa Jiahao, do you want me to sing an original song?" He didn't have a microphone, but the live music had stopped, so the people in the bar could hear it clearly. This Li family's third young master seemed to be quite calm. Of course. Sa Jiahao finally thought of a good idea to attack Li Mubai. How could he let his opponent escape so easily? He said without hesitation, "Who in the circle doesn't know your musical talent, Li Xiao? If you sing someone else's song, do you have the nerve to dedicate it to our sister Fanny? Isn't that right, everyone?" If he didn't force Li Mubai into a corner and prevent him from making a fool of himself, Sa Jiahao wouldn't feel comfortable. Such a good opportunity to slap his face was too rare. Yes, there were a few of Sa Jiahao's friends in the crowd, and they deliberately responded to his words loudly. "Old Sa, what you're doing is too unkind." Li Mubai smiled bitterly, shook his head and said, "Do I have such a big grudge against you? You're making it very difficult for me." Pretentious. Seeing that Li Mubai was still putting on airs there, Sa Jiahao suddenly got angry for no reason. "You still dare to put on airs?" Coincidentally, he caught a glimpse of Fanny from the corner of his eye. The latter's slightly furrowed eyebrows made this young master Sa suddenly realize that Li Mubai was waiting for Fanny to step in and smooth things over. As expected, Fanny said, "Forget it, little Sa. Everyone is here to have fun tonight. There's no need to fight." "Since you've said it, Sister Fanny," Sa Jiahao immediately pretended to sigh and said, "Li Mubai, since you can't do it, forget it." Of course, he had to give enough face to Fanny. On the surface, he magnanimously let Li Mubai go, but in fact he wanted to step on the ladder to the bottom. Fanny smiled, while Chen Qian curled her lips in disdain. Li Mubai was simply too incompetent. As a man, you can't say that you can't do it. To everyone's surprise, Li Mubai didn't take the opportunity to get off the stage. Instead, he smiled contemptuously and said, "I really prepared an original work. Since everyone wants to hear it, then I'll show my incompetence once." Li Mubai really wanted to go on the stage himself? Did he lose his mind because of Sa Jiahao's provocation? It was estimated that he was really going to be embarrassed. Many guests were speechless and felt that they were going to be embarrassed again. Fanny, who had just relaxed her eyebrows, frowned again, and her pretty face showed a trace of displeasure. "I haven't seen Li Mubai for 2 years. Why is he still like a child?" She and the other people at the scene didn't notice the look on the faces of the 4 members brought by Li Mubai. Their expressions were very strange, as if they wanted to laugh but didn't dare to laugh. Sa Jiahao was overjoyed and immediately said, "Then everyone, let's welcome our Li Xiao on the stage to personally sing." He was the first to clap hard, as if he wanted to slap Li Mubai's face. Whether they were willing or not, everyone followed him and clapped. Li Mubai took his band members and went on stage proudly. The Lost Bar was definitely not the biggest nightclub in Sanlitun, but in terms of interior decoration and facilities, if it said that it was ranked second, then no one would dare to say that they were first. All the instruments and equipment needed by a pop band could be found here, and they were all high-end goods. Li Mubai's team unceremoniously occupied the original positions of the musicians. He held an electric guitar and stood in front of the microphone, full of vigor and confidence. Sa Jiahao, who just got off the stage, suddenly felt a little unconfident. He set a trap for Li Mubai, and Li Mubai also fell into the trap. But now he didn't know why, but he felt that he was the one who fell into the trap. This grandson was too good at acting. There must be a conspiracy. Young Master Sa was still very smart. He immediately thought of a question. Li Mubai, did you buy a song? With their net worth, they could easily take out the money to buy a good song from their pockets. Previously, Li Mubai was in the heavy band. In order to show off, it was undoubtedly a very normal thing to spend money to buy songs. If that was really the case, then he, Sa Jiahao, would be a fool. Pay. Li Mubai replied with disdain. If I spend money, or let others spend money to buy a song for me, I'll change my surname to yours. On the other hand, if I don't spend money to buy a song, you'll change your surname to mine. Do you dare to agree? Of course, this song was not bought. It was a gift from someone else. Suddenly there was a burst of laughter around. Sa Jiahao really didn't dare to agree. Although Li Mubai was playful and aggressive, he was also a master of his words in the circle. No one had ever seen him go back on his words. His credibility was very high. Li Mubai made Sa Jiahao speechless, and then said to the microphone, I'm very happy tonight, because Sister Fanny returned from overseas to develop in the country. She came back very suddenly, so I didn't prepare a good gift for her. And even if I did, Sister Fanny wouldn't accept it. As he said, his eyes looked at Fanny, who was standing under the stage. Fanny smiled. So I thought I'd give you a song. Li Mubai continued. This song was originally written for me. I practiced for a long time, and it's the first time I'm singing it for everyone. I hope everyone doesn't mind. Applause and laughter sounded again. Even the unruly Chen Qian gave him face. The name of the song is Li Mubai. As soon as his voice fell, a very rhythmic prelude suddenly sounded. Li Mubai stood very casually and relaxed. He lowered his head and played the guitar. Most people want me to learn to watch the secular view. I seriously learned the secular view, the secular world until dawn. I didn't understand a word in a foreign movie. It's a joke to watch the ending. You see how well-behaved, smart, and obedient I am, how treacherous. I drank a few bowls of rice wine, and then left to imitate. Whose painting was it that I accidentally vomited when I went out? You call the other party dear every day. How unfashionable it is. You should practice calligraphy before you go out to explore the world. Only then will there be people who enthusiastically buy it. When Li Mubai's casual and even lazy singing came into the ears of everyone present, these young people in the top circle of the capital were all moved, and even amazed and couldn't believe it. They all came from superior backgrounds, and there were some who were ignorant and incompetent, but there was basically no one who had poor vision and experience. In terms of music alone, there might be very few people who had the ability to appreciate, but they could still hear the good or bad of a song. Li Mubai's song Li Bai was at least very outstanding in terms of melody, and the song's title and lyrics were also very interesting. The most important thing was the strength of his singing. It was simply coquettish to the bone, with a little bit of arrogance and a little bit of debauchery, delicate and elegant, completely different from before. And there was still the passion that belonged to young people. If I could do it all over again, I want to choose Li Bai, good or bad things done thousands of years ago, not so many people guessed. If I could do it all over again, I want to choose Li Bai, at least I can still write poems to tease girls. If I could do it all over again, I want to choose Li Bai, writing can also reach such a high level, being admired by so many people. If I could do it all over again. Many people were simply listening to it. As soon as the chorus ended, applause, laughter, and whistles immediately rang out. It was great. Sa Jiahao took a few steps back, trying to hide himself in the crowd. He felt a little hot on his face. Chun Qian was stunned. After a moment she murmured, "Jazz, R&B, soul? What else?" What she heard was the style contained in this song, which made people happy and harmonious, so she was very surprised. When did Li Mubai, this ignorant and incompetent guy, have such talent? She would rather believe that a sow can climb a tree. And Fanny, who was beside Chun Qian, didn't think so much. She didn't understand either. She just felt that Li Mubai, who was standing on the stage and singing at this moment, was undoubtedly a lot more mature than the playboy from 2 years ago. He also had a little bit of a real man. If I could do it all over again, I want to choose Li Bai? Interesting. Her eyes flashed with an inexplicable look. Until the end of the song, the audience burst into thunderous applause. Sa Jiahao finally escaped shamefully. If he stayed any longer, his face couldn't be covered. It was too swollen. There was no doubt that what happened tonight was bound to become a hot topic in the circle. Li Mubai would get a good story, and Sa Jiahao would become a joke in the background. But Li Mubai didn't laugh at the loser at all, because all his attention was on Fanny. He stared at her and smiled, saying affectionately in the applause, "This song Li Mubai will give to everyone first. The second song is really for Sister Fanny. Although I didn't write it, I think it's the most suitable for her." The name of this song is called Beauty. At the same time, Li Mubai also said in his heart, "Thank you, Lu Chen." Note: Li by lyrics/composer, Li Ronghao. Chapter 104. Deep into the night. In the bedroom, the lamp on the bedside table was still on. A thick Western modern music book was opened and pressed against his chest. Lu Chen closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. The orange light shone on his face. The bright and dark outline looked like a plaster sculpture. Beep. The phone on the edge of the bed suddenly rang and vibrated violently. Lu Chen suddenly woke up. He abruptly sat up, his pitch-black eyes filled with confusion. After a while, they slowly regained clarity. Lu Chen just had a dream. In the dream, he returned to that world, but he couldn't tell if he was Su Bo, Mo Ran, or Fang Mingyi. Or maybe he was none of them. In the dream, he was a lonely time traveler, a bystander of the mortal world. Regardless of the changes in the world, it had nothing to do with him. He just watched the joys and sorrows of the world with a cold gaze. Lu Chen thought he would never wake up until the end of the world. Fortunately, it was just a dream. He got up and went to the bathroom to wash his face. He was completely awake. He went back to the bedroom and looked at his phone. It was 1:32 in the morning. Lu Chen couldn't help but smile bitterly, and opened a message that he had just received from Yi Fubao, and was immediately stunned. This message reminded Lu Chen that someone had just transferred 200,000 yuan to his account. And it was anonymous. What the hell? Lu Chen rubbed his eyes in disbelief. He quickly looked at his Yi Fubao record. It was real. Who's the one who's giving away wealth? And it was such a huge amount of money. He was completely confused by the commotion. There was a message attached to the transaction. The content was very simple. Thank you. It was these 2 words that made Lu Chen faintly understand. Among the people he knew, the only one who had the ability and motive to do such a thing was probably that person. But when Lu Chen called the other party to verify, the result was a voice message that the other party's phone was turned off. The next morning, Lu Chen rushed to Nirvana Studios. The production of Lu Chen's debut solo album will be completed by this studio, and the 2 sides have signed a formal contract, so he will often come here for a long time. In particular, several works to be performed in the Singing China competition have to be accompanied in advance. It was Wang Changxing who received Lu Chen. The manager of Nirvana Studios gave him a surprise when he met him. "Mr. Lu, I've found a suitable office space for you." So fast. Lu Chen was surprised. "Where is it?" "He is going to open a music studio, located in the Blue Sky Creative Park. Although it is a little far from the city center, the environment is good, the surrounding commercial facilities are complete, and the operating cost is relatively low." So the day before yesterday, Lu Chen asked Wang Changxing to help him find a suitable office. He didn't expect there to be news today. Wasn't this efficiency a little too fast? Wang Changxing said with a smile. "It's also a coincidence. Yesterday, I met a student who works in the park management committee. After asking him, I learned that several floors of A8 building are for rent, with an office area of 100 to 1,500 square meters. Blue Sky Creative Park belongs to the District Government Management Committee, which owns a number of office buildings. Among them, A7 and A8 are the best, just on the north and south sides of the park entrance, only tens of meters away from the subway exit. Originally, all the office floors of the two office buildings have long been rented out, but recently a number of companies in A8 building have moved to a new building nearby, so several floors have been vacated for sublease. This is really a coincidence. If Wang Changxing didn't meet his students, it would probably be gone in a few days. According to his student, there were already a few sets that had been reserved in advance. I wanted to call you in the morning, and now you're here at the right time. After Lu Chen understood, he immediately became interested. Can I trouble Manager Wang to accompany me to have a look? No problem, Wang Changxing said with a smile. Don't worry about the arrangement of the album. Wang Jing has already started working yesterday. I promise it won't delay your competition and guarantee the quality of your work. I'll call now and ask my student out. As the saying goes, it's easy to have someone in the court. The property owned by the management committee is helped by the people in the management committee, so things are really much simpler. Wang Changxing's student, surnamed Su, is in his 30s and is the section chief of a department in the management committee. After meeting and getting to know each other, he is still very warm to Lu Chen and repeatedly praised Lu Chen for being young and promising. This makes Lu Chen feel a little embarrassed. Through the introduction of this section chief Su, Lu Chen knows that the A8 office building in Blue Sky Creative Park is 32 stories high. The first, second and third floors are rented to banks, restaurants, gyms and other commercial enterprises. The third floor and above are all office rooms. At present, there are vacant units for rent on the 15th, 19th and 26th floors. Under his guidance, Lu Chen and Wang Changxing came to the A8 office building together and visited the 3 floors. For the office conditions here, Lu Chen is really satisfied. He is still in the beginning stage, and the requirements are really not high. If he is not lucky, he may not be able to meet it. The opportunity is rare, so he can't miss it. The only thing that makes Lu Chen hesitate is that a 200 square meter suite on the 19th floor and a 150 square meter suite on the 26th floor are very suitable for his conditions, but he doesn't know which one to choose. Wang Changxing is experienced and analyzed for Lu Chen. Mr. Lu, if you have enough money, it is better to rent the 200 square meter suite. The house of the management committee will not easily increase the price. You can rent it for a few years with peace of mind. If the area is bigger, it will be convenient to expand the business in the future. Of course, it is better to be big. Lu Chen mainly wants to save some rent, but what Wang Changxing said is very reasonable, so he did not think for a long time and decided to rent the 200 square meter suite on the 19th floor. The former tenant of this office suite has been simply renovated. It is divided into a reception room, a large office area, 2 offices and a lounge. In addition, the bathroom is divided into men's and women's cubicles, which is spacious and comfortable enough. Although all the things inside have been moved away, as long as it is cleaned up and added a variety of office equipment, then it can quickly move in and start business. The rent of the house is 3.5 yuan per square meter per day. The 200 square meter area is equivalent to 21,000 yuan per month. It is not cheap, but compared to the location and conditions, it is very worth it. In addition, the annual property management fee is about 20,000 yuan. Now Lu Chen has a stable source of income. Otherwise, even if he opened a studio, he would at most rent a small suite of dozens of square meters to make a living. How could he be so extravagant to rent such a large room? It should be known that rent is one aspect. In the future, when he hires employees, the expenses of wages, taxes, utilities and so on are not small. After choosing the office building, Lu Chen was afraid that a long delay will cause trouble, so he simply went directly to the management committee with Section Chief Su to sign the contract. The management committee of Blue Sky Creative Park was very efficient. With the help of Section Chief Su, he signed a formal contract before noon and got the right to rent this property for a period of 2 years. According to the requirements of the contract, Lu Chen paid a total of 126,000 yuan. Mr. Liu, congratulations. After signing the contract, the person in charge of the management committee held Lu Chen's hand and said, I wish you a great future in Blue Sky Creative Park. Lu Chen said with a smile, Thank you. Originally, he wanted to invite the other party and section chief Su to have lunch together at noon, but he was politely declined by the two. The management committee of the park is very strict in this regard. In the afternoon, when Lu Chen returned to his home, the first thing he did was to call Li Feiyu. The office was rented, but there were still many things to do, such as cleaning, purchasing supplies, decorating, applying for licenses, recruiting new employees, etc., all of which needed Li Feiyu to help him complete. There was also Lu Shi. He had to ask her to come to Beijing in advance. Lu Chen had a hunch that he would soon become very busy. He couldn't do without the help of trustworthy people. After talking with Li Feiyu on the phone, Lu Chen turned on the computer and logged into the Waves blog website. In this largest blog website in the country, he registered a new account. The ID was Lu Chen FMX. Lu Chen is himself, and FMX represents Fang Mingyi, Mo Ran and Su Bo. The establishment of this account also means that he has reached a new starting point in his life and career. In his personal information, Lu Chen filled in the word singer. He knew that this was temporary, and that in the future, actors, freelancers will be added, or more. The registration time was 16:27 on July 13, 2015. There were still 267 hours and 03 minutes before the live broadcast of Singing China, Beijing Singing District's Top 16 of 32 began. Chapter 105. July 24, 7:05 in the evening. Binhai City, Zhejiang Province, Building 7, Dongping District, Kitchen Room 201. Fang Yin put the freshly washed dishes in the cupboard. Mom, come here quickly. Lu Shui's crisp voice came from the small living room outside. Brothers' competition is about to begin. Got it. Fang Yin agreed, wiped her wet hands on her apron and hurried out. She sat down next to Lu Shui, and was stunned when she saw the picture on TV. She said angrily, Where's your brother? It's clearly still on the news. You child, you only know how to lie to your mother. Lu Shui smilingly hugged Fang Yin's arm, leaned her head on her shoulder, and said, If you don't come over, you must be busy again, so I tricked you into coming over to have a rest first. And soon it will be brother's turn. Let me clean up the house tomorrow. Fang Yin shook her head helplessly, but her eyes showed a doting look. Her eyes were still locked on the screen. 7:15. 2,000 kilometers away in Beijing, Beijing Normal University, Building 7, Room 305. Yi Zitong sat alone at the head of the bed, put on her headphones and turned on the computer. Her roommates have all gone out to play these days, but she didn't feel lonely at all. Instead, she had a sense of satisfaction of owning the whole world alone. She slid her finger and skillfully opened a website in the browser's favorites. According to the webpage, the live broadcast of Beijing Television's Singing China to the top 16 of 32 has entered the countdown stage. Staring at the constantly jumping numbers, Yi Zitong's heart suddenly beat violently. Without her even knowing it, a faint blush appeared on her pretty face. As bright as a peach. 7:20. Ho hai, forget grass bar. Today is the first night of the weekend. Although it's not yet prime time, the bar is already full. Strangely, there are no singers singing on the stage, and even the music is turned off. The big LED screen shows the news of the TV station, and the logo in the upper left corner belongs to Beijing Television. Such a scene would have never appeared in the past. Who would run to a bar to watch the news? After a while, Chen Jianhao walked onto the stage with a microphone in his hand. He said with a smile on his face, I believe everyone already knows that tonight is the day when our Forget Grass Bar's former resident singer, Lu Chen, participates in Beijing Television's Singing China Top 16 of 32 competition. We are here to watch the live broadcast and cheer for Lu Chen. We are all his friends and relatives. Tonight's drinks will all be 20% off. Applause, laughter, whistles, and cheers suddenly rang out in the bar. Many regular customers raised their wine glasses, expressing their gratitude to Chen Jianhao, and cheering for Lu Chen at the same time. Don't let everyone down. 7:25. Blue Sky Creative Park, Room 1905, A8 Building Lu Chen Studio. The undecorated studio is in a mess, with desks and chairs everywhere, big and small cardboard boxes stacked in the corner, and the air is filled with a unique smell of latex paint. In the webcast studio, Li Feiyu sat in a brand new chair in high spirits. He wore big headphones, faced the same brand new computer, camera, and microphone and shouted, "Attention everyone, there are 5 minutes left. There are 5 minutes left to start the live broadcast. Put on the music, everyone get high, follow me. Let's cheer for Lu Feida. Come on." Countless bullet screens were brushed on the screen, and fish balls fell like raindrops. One aircraft carrier after another sailed past majestically. 7:27. Beijing Television Studio, backstage waiting area. Lu Chen, holding his favorite guitar, is waiting to go on stage. The host's impassioned voice came from outside. Tonight's Singing China, Beijing Singing Area's top 16 of 32 competition, because of the addition of the live audience and off-site audience voting. The delay time has been changed from 60 minutes to 5 minutes, which is a real live broadcast. And Lu Chen was arranged to appear first, with the number 001. Behind him, there are 31 contestants, all of whom are strong opponents who stand out from thousands of competitors. And tonight, half of the people will be eliminated and bid farewell to the stage. Lu Chen knows that in front of the TV and computer, many people who know or don't know him will see him sing, including his relatives and friends. But he was not nervous at all, as calm as if he was going to a friend's afternoon tea date. Next, let's invite Beijing Singing Area's top 32 contestant number 001, Lu Chen, to the stage. Warm applause suddenly sounded, like a summer storm, sweeping across the big studio in an instant. It hit Lu Chen's eardrum. Lu Chen's eyes suddenly became bright, and the corners of his mouth hooked up into a faint smile. In the applause, he stepped up the steps, took a steady and powerful step to the center of the stage, and stood in the spotlight. At the same time, he faced 4 judges, 27 camera lenses, and 1,500 live audiences. Good evening to the 4 judges. Good evening to the audience. Lu Chen looked straight ahead and said into the microphone, "I am contestant number 001 Lu Chen." With that, he bowed. The applause that had just calmed down sounded again, and the audience's love and support for him could be heard. A song, Life on a String, and In the Spring, made Lu Chen, who performed well in the preliminary round, sing his name in Singing China, and made many audiences no longer unfamiliar with him. Even if he skipped the semifinals and directly advanced to the top 32. Last week, on July 19th, in the 3rd week of China Music Chart, after a month of promotion and publicity, In the Spring successfully topped the list. The Bionics became famous and became a hot new band, and as the original songwriter in the Spring, Lu Chen's name was firmly remembered by many insiders. One of the judges, Queen of Sweet Songs Chen Feier, smiled and asked, "Lu Chen, we meet again. What good song will you bring to everyone tonight? Is it still your own original work?" She showed an expectant expression, which just gave the camera a close-up shot. Lu Chen did not disappoint. He nodded and replied, "Yes, the song I brought to you tonight is very special. It's my first original work, a campus folk song. Its name is, You Who Sat Next to Me." Tan Hong said, "Then I'm looking forward to your wonderful singing." The music started. Lu Chen bowed his head slightly and gently plucked the strings. He began his singing. "Will you remember tomorrow? The diary you wrote yesterday? Will you still miss tomorrow? The you who used to love to cry the most? The teachers can't remember, the you who can't guess the problem. I only remembered you who sat next to me by chance when I flipped through the photos." Lu Chen had played and sung this song many times, but every time he played and sang it, he had a different feeling and experience. It can't be said that it was the best, but he sang it with the taste of his heart. The song itself was not complicated. It was a simple 2-part style, and the range was not wide, only 6 degrees. But its melody was very beautiful, simple and easy to sing, and the lyrics were as long and delicate as silk. It easily touched people's feelings that had been hidden deep in their hearts, causing everyone to have a strong resonance and recall the past. This melodious and fresh song reflected the pure and hazy feelings of school days, so it has always been one of Lu Chen's most popular works. Different from the usual, this song has been rearranged by Nirvana Studios. Wang Jing added accordion and harmonica to the accompaniment. Big rich timbre also enhanced the nostalgic feeling of the melody. Therefore, when Lu Chen took out You Who Sat Next to Me and sang it on the real stage, the charm of this classic work not only did not fade, but became more and more touching. Even if you have heard it many times, you will still be deeply moved. The studio became quiet, very quiet, and everyone listened quietly and savored it. Many people, in Lu Chen's slightly sad narration, recalled the beautiful years of youth they had experienced. The borrowed eraser, the copied notebook, the 38th parallel on the table. Those beautiful, beautiful, sweet, sweet, have all gone with the wind. Who tied up your long hair? Who made your wedding dress la? Until Lu Chen finished singing, the audience was still silent. Clap. 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 The first to applaud was Judge Lin Jijia. In the eyes of the music director of Flying Stone Records, there was uncontrollable appreciation and appreciation. However, everyone seemed to wake up from a dream and applauded one after another. At first, it was disorderly, and then it immediately became neat and tidy. The sincere and warm applause was like a tide. Chun Fei was the first to stand up. Her eyes sparkled with a sparkling light, and she applauded Lu Chen. Many of the audience also stood up. Although the live broadcast of the competition has just begun, and Lu Chen is the first singer to appear, the atmosphere of the scene has already been pushed to a climax. Thank you. Lu Chen bowed deeply and said sincerely, "Thank you everyone." His heart was no longer calm. This feeling was really good. After a full minute, the applause finally subsided, and everyone sat back in their seats. Chun Fei said, "Lu Chen, I like your song. I like it very much." She was even a little excited. "So I'll give you 10 points. As soon as her voice fell, the Queen of Sweet Songs pressed down on the scoreboard on the table and gave Lu Chen the highest score. Lu Chen was pleasantly surprised and only thanked. "Thank you, Teacher Chen." Singing China uses a combination of judges scoring and audience voting on and off-site to select the top 16, in which the proportion of judges' scores reaches 40%. Chun Fei's first 10 points is undoubtedly a heavy weight under the balance of Lu Chen's victory. She said with a smile, "I also thank you for letting me hear a good song, really." She smiled with tears in her eyes. She was as emotional as she was moved. Chapter 106. Whale TV, Lu Fei Live Broadcast Room. When Chun Fei gave the highest score of 10 for Lu Chen in the live broadcast screen, the entire live broadcast room was boiling. Long live Lu Fei da. It's great, the anchor sang well. Chun Fei gave a beautiful score. I love Lu Fei da, and I love Chun Fei. Do you think our anchor is big? Is it possible for her to be with Chun Fei? She looks very touched. Wake up, stop dreaming, get up and move the bricks. Why are you talking in your sleep? Haha, that's a good idea, but can you be realistic? Chun Fei is already 30 plus. I announce from now on, I am a fan of Chun Fei. There is no suspense in the top 16. Reward. Li Feiyu, who hosted the live broadcast, had already roared hoarsely and laughed until his mouth cracked. Although he quit his job in the 4S store a few days ago, although he just came to Lu Chen's studio, although he was busy running around every day, although he still had to work overtime at night, but he has deeply fallen in love with this passionate and energetic job. Let the fishballs come more fiercely. Let the aircraft carriers rewarded by the nouveau riches crush me to death. In a certain floor of the A8 building in the Blue Sky Creative Park area, there was a cry like a ghost crying and a wolf howling. The bitter overtime dogs in the same building heard this and felt a chill run down their spines. It must be that the air conditioner was too low. Forget grass bar. On the big screen on the stage, Lin Jijia just gave the judges' score to Lu Chen. 10 points. The same 10 points as Chun Fei, the highest score. The bar suddenly burst into cheers. Many guests applauded and whistled loudly. Someone slammed the table and shouted, "Serve the wine, serve the wine." They all knew Lu Chen knew this straightforward and handsome young man. Everyone felt it was a pity that Lu Chen did not continue to perform in Forget Worries Bar, but they were very happy to see him move towards a wider world. But now Lu Chen really stood under the spotlight and appeared in front of hundreds of millions of TV viewers. A new star was rising in the music industry. Then they could proudly say to others, Look at this talented and handsome guy. I've ordered his songs, drank with him, and talked about music with him. They shared the glory. Chun Jianhao stood behind the bar counter and announced loudly, "The next drink is on me." The cheers grew louder. Tonight's Forget Grass bar was destined to be sleepless. The bartender David shook his head and asked, Boss Xiao Lu is only participating in the knockout competition. There are still many competitions after that. If he wins, are you going to treat all of Forget Worries bar?" Chun Jianhao stared blankly for a moment before bursting into laughter. He reached out and patted the bartender's shoulder. "You don't understand. Beijing Normal University Female Dormitory." Yi Zitong nervously stared at the laptop screen. Her teeth bit her red lips, her left hand pressed on the computer's touchpad, and her right hand couldn't help but grab the sheet, as if she would shout at any time. Chen Fei gave Lu Chen 10 points, and Lin Jijia also gave Lu Chen 10 points. What about the next one? The next one was Zhen Zhen. The editor-in-chief of Pop Music magazine gave Lu Chen a score of 9 points. Only 9 points? Obviously, it was already a very high score, but Yi Zitong was very disappointed. Even Zhen Zhen was not pleasing to the eye. "Why did you only give him 9 points? Zhen Zhen commented. "You wrote this song very well and sang it very well. It's just that you lack a bit of depth in your emotions, so I'll give you 9 points. I hope you continue to work hard and make persistent efforts." Lu Chen smiled and bowed. "Thank you, Teacher Zhen Zhen." Seeing such a scene, Yi Zitong couldn't help but feel sullen. She closed the screen with a click. But after only 3 seconds, she reopened it. She hadn't seen Tan Hong's score yet. Tan Hong would definitely give Lu Chen 10 points. Yi Zitong was completely sure. 10 points. In the Dongping district of Binhai City, Lu Shui suddenly jumped up from the sofa and shouted with joy. "Mom, Tan Hong." Tan Hong also gave brother 10 points. Fang Yun smiled, but her eyes were fixed on the TV screen, where her son was bowing and thanking the judges. Her son, who she worried about day and night, had really grown up. Not only did he earn a lot of money, but he also appeared on TV, enjoying the joy and honor of success. Fang Yun didn't know that Lu Chen had such talent. His future achievements would definitely surpass his father. Thinking of Lu Qingsheng, Fang Yun's eyes were filled with tears. "Old Lu, you're in heaven. Do you know that your son is so promising? He's going to be a star." Fang Yun smiled, and there were tears in her smile. Chen Fei, 10 points, Lin Jijia 10 points, Zhen Zhen 9 points, Tan Hong 10 points. All 4 judges gave their scores, and they gave Lu Chen's song, "You Who Sat Next to Me," a total score of 39 points. A near-perfect score. This meant that Lu Chen got 39% of the 40% of the judges' votes. It could almost be said that he was in an invincible position. Unless he was defeated in the voting session of the live audience and the off-site audience. But how was that possible? There was no need to say more about the audience now. The applause just now was so warm, and the supporters were by no means a small number. As for the off-site audience voting, hundreds of thousands of Whale TV fans were hungry and thirsty. Therefore, Lu Chen's place in the top 16 was in the bag. With full confidence, he returned to the backstage. In the top 16 of 32 competition, the winner list was announced at the end, so even if Lu Chen was the first to appear, he couldn't leave. He had to stay here until the end of the show. The other contestants in the backstage lounge all looked at Lu Chen, who had returned with honor, with envious and jealous eyes. They all saw Lu Chen's performance clearly. The judges' score of 39 points was simply a high mountain for most people, and it was impossible to surpass it. Even if they were side by side, they couldn't do it. With this honor and qualification, Lu Chen can basically determine his position in the top 10 of Beijing singing area. That's right, top 10, not top 16. "Senior Lu?" A lovely girl came up to him and congratulated him sincerely. "Congratulations, this song is really nice." Lu Chen said with a smile, "Thank you. You can do it too." The other party was Mu Xiaoqiu, whom Lu Chen met in the preliminary round, a little girl from the College of Foreign Languages. She passed the preliminary and semifinals, and also got a place in the top 32 to participate in tonight's top 16 competition. At this time, a staff member rushed over. He asked softly, "Mr. Lu Chen, is it convenient for you now?" The director of our program group wants to see you. The director of Singing China program group is looking for him? Lu Chen was more or less surprised. He nodded to Mu Xiaochu quietly, and then said to the staff, "No problem. Well, please follow me." Under the leadership of the on-site staff, Lu Chen left the backstage of the studio. Through the winding corridor, the two came to an office. There were already several people in the room. When they saw Lu Chen coming in, they all stood up. The staff introduced to Lu Chen, "This is the music director of our program group, Gurue Director Gu." Gurue is a gentle middle-aged man in his 40s. He is thin and tall with black-rimmed glasses, and has a bit of a musician's demeanor. Several other people in the office are also members of the program group. After Lu Chen sat down, Gurue personally poured him a cup of tea. The music director was not sticky. He went straight to the point and said, "Lu Chen, on behalf of the program group, I want to ask you if you would like to transfer the copyright of the song you sang last time to our Beijing television. We will use this song, Life on a String, as the theme song of Singing China, and use it in the singing area PK. So that's how it is." Gurue's request did not surprise Lu Chen. As early as after the audition, he prepared the song Life on a String for himself. His goal was to aim at the theme of Singing China, and he directly showed it in the qualifying round. In fact, it took Beijing television 2 weeks to find him, which really surprised Lu Chen. He thought that the other party would soon negotiate with him. Of course, on the surface, Lu Chen remained calm and said with a smile, "That's no problem at all. I'm very happy that my song was chosen by the program group." Gurue was obviously relieved and said, "Then let's talk about the terms of the copyright transfer now." To his surprise, Lu Chen hesitated for a moment and said, "Director Gu, the situation is like this. I'm happy to transfer the copyright of this song to you, but the specific terms have to be negotiated by my agent." "Your agent?" Gurue asked in surprise. "You have an agent?" In the information he had about Lu Chen, there was no mention of Lu Chen having an agent. This is troublesome. Gurue originally wanted to use the name of the program group to easily win the copyright of Life on a String. As a result, Lu Chen unexpectedly brought out the magic weapon of agent. He suddenly felt that he might have underestimated the handsome young man in front of him. Lu Chen saw the change in Gurue's expression and said with a smile, "Director Gu, don't worry. I don't think my agent will put forward any outrageous conditions. After all, Singing China has such a great influence. Lu Chen is trying to use Singing China to make a name for himself and promote himself. Of course, he will not put forward excessive conditions. In fact, even if it's free authorization to the other party, some principles still have to be adhered to. Otherwise, it's easy to be treated as a soft persimmon. At this time, the role of an agent is big." Gurue couldn't help asking, "When can your agent come over and talk to us?" Lu Chen grinned and said, "How about next Monday?" Chapter 107. Young people nowadays are really amazing. Gurue looked at the young man with a sunny smile in front of him, and his heart was filled with emotion. As a senior in the industry and the current music director of Singing China, he has seen many newcomers who have just broken into the entertainment industry. Some of them are arrogant, some are naive, some are cautious and timid, and some are servile. In Gurue's impression, there are very few newcomers who can be like Lu Chen. In the face of a behemoth like Beijing television, his attitude is still polite and modest, and there is no background force behind him. Unlike several contestants who performed well in the promotion competition, Lu Chen did not sign up with an entertainment or agency. What, or rather, who gave him such great courage and confidence? An agent who doesn't know if he exists or not? Gurue can't guess the answer. But the music director can see that Lu Chen is not pretending to be calm. His eyes are bright and clear, and his smile is sincere and kind. Although polite, he always sticks to his bottom line and does not make promises easily. Even for him, this is an excellent opportunity to get closer to Beijing television. Such a young man has a boundless future. Gurue immediately said with a smile, "Monday is fine. I'll leave you a phone number. Keep in touch at any time." Although Gurue represents Beijing television's Singing China program team, it doesn't matter to him whether he can buy or pay the price to get the copyright of Life on a String. He has a good impression of Lu Chen. Gurue handed Lu Chen a business card. Lu Chen got up and took it with both hands and said, "Thank you, Director Gu." This small detail made Gurue feel quite comfortable. A 22-year-old young man who has just graduated from college is rarely so polite. It usually takes several years of experience in society to learn. Many of them will never even learn, or disdain to learn. Gurue's attitude became more and more amiable. "You're welcome. Our production team admires your talent very much. We hope that you can overcome all the difficulties and fight your way to the finals and bring more and more wonderful works to the audience. Good luck." Lu Chen thanked him again and left. Back in the backstage of the studio, the third contestant has just finished his singing. Her performance was probably not very good. Among the 4 judges, Lin Jijie and Zhenzhen only gave her 4 points, Chen Feier gave her 6 points, and Tan Hong gave her 5 points. Altogether, she only got 19 points. If there were no accidents, this contestant would probably be eliminated from the competition. So she left the stage in tears. The current reality talent show competition was so cruel, especially in the promotion stage. One abnormal performance was very likely to be directly eliminated, and it was not easy to get the resurrection egg in the hands of the judges. The match continued. The 32 contestants sang on stage one by one, and accepted the judges' scores. It was undoubtedly a long process. However, Lu Chen has enough patience to wait for the time to pick the fruits of victory. At 11:15 p.m., all the singers finished singing. The host immediately announced that the voting results of the audience inside and outside the venue would be announced, and the top 16 would be announced. Because there were many contestants in this competition, all their audience votes were centralized by the computer system, and the results were announced at the same time to save time. The next singing area final for the top 10 of the 16 should be announced on the spot, rather than waiting until it was all over. Now, let's look forward to the birth of the top 16 contestants in the Singing China, Beijing singing area. They are. With the host's impassioned speech, the atmosphere at the scene was pushed to a new climax. The 1,500 spectators in the studio were all looking forward to it. Everyone's eyes were focused on the big screen in the background. On the huge screen, the logo of Singing China continued to flash, indicating that the answer to the mystery was about to be revealed. The 4 judges, Tan Hong, Chen Feier, Lin Jijie and Zhenzhen, clapped their hands. The picture on the screen suddenly changed, and a golden number jumped out. 16. In the next moment, the number suddenly exploded into specks of golden light, and the identity of the 16th winner was revealed. Lin Yaro. Contestant name, Lin Yaro. Contestant no. 023 Song. Summer Nightstand. Judges total score, 27 points. Audience votes, 1025 votes. Offsite audience votes, 162,540 votes. Overall score, 77. 69 points. In the backstage of the studio, a woman with long hair covering her face with her hands, sobbing with joy. She is undoubtedly Lin Yaro, who has just entered the top 16. Although she is ranked last, it means that she has defeated half of her opponents and entered a higher level of competition. Whether she can enter the top 10 of Beijing singing area or not, it is already a victory. In previous talent shows, there have been many contestants who have been eliminated in the promotion competition, who have been noticed by entertainment agencies, and thus successfully signed a contract and made a debut, doing better than defeating their opponents. Therefore, it's very important to brush your face. The further you brush your face, the more chances you have. Then the 15th, 14th, 13th were announced in turn. The top 16 contestants appeared one after another, and the cheers of the audience rose and fell one after another, and warm applause continued. Everyone will have a strong sense of satisfaction when they see the contestant they support and like successfully promoted. In the backstage rest area, some contestants were silent, some were cheering, some were excited, and some were crying. There is nothing more torturous and test of willpower than this process. Until the third contestant appeared, Lu Chen did not see his name, but he still sat steadily, calm and composed. In contrast, those who sat in front of TVs and computers and persisted for more than 3 hours couldn't bear it, especially Lu Chen's relatives, friends and fans. Fang Yin rubbed her eyes and said with a wry smile, Nowadays programs are too good at suspending people's appetite. Lu Shui clenched her small fists and said with certainty, Mom, rest assured. Brother will definitely win, champion. In the Forget Grass bar, the regular customers didn't even drink. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the screen. Won't he be eliminated? That's absolutely impossible, Yi Zitong said to herself secretly, completely not noticing her roommates who had just returned to the dormitory. Although the school had already started its summer vacation, many people were still willing to stay in this super big city to spend the hot summer, because there were too many wonderful days to enjoy here. Yi Zitong's life was not rich and colorful, but this was the first time she applied to stay at school during the summer vacation. Just to stay on the bed in the dormitory and watch a talent show? In Lu Fei's live broadcast, the number of 950,000 plus online audiences bullet screen had reached a terrifying level. If the bullet screen was not divided into sections, there was no way to watch the live broadcast at all. Oh, there are only 2 places left. Do you think our Lu Fei Da will be eliminated? Ba ba ba. Don't jinx it. Our anchor is 100% the champion. I'm so nervous, so nervous, so nervous. Everyone calm down. If it's not the first or second place, believe me, Huang Banxian, 100% right. I don't know what you are nervous about. General Lu has the highest judges' score. Will he be eliminated? Yes, the anchor will definitely win. I really admire Beijing television. They made the top 16 of 32 like the national finals. If the anchor is eliminated, I will eat shit live. Haha, you are all too naive. At this time the second place in the top 16 was announced, Mu Xiaochu. Warm applause sounded in the studio and the backstage rest area at the same time. Whether it was those who were destined to be eliminated or those who had successfully advanced, they all congratulated this beautiful and shy little girl. Thank you everyone. Mu Xiaochu's pretty face turned red. She stood up a little bewildered and bowed to thank them again and again. She didn't expect that she could win the runner-up position in the top 16. While thanking them, Mu Xiaochu's eyes couldn't help but look at Lu Chun, who was also applauding her. At this moment, the question in her mind was the ownership of the last place. Is it Lu Chen's? Not only Mu Xiaochu, but also many contestants in the backstage rest area were secretly speculating. Although Lu Chen got the highest judges' score, and his creative talent is obvious to all, it is hard to guarantee that the Singing China program team will come up with a big news and directly eliminate Lu Chen to create a hot topic. Such a method has been common in various talent shows in the past. The so-called big heat is bound to die, and Lu Chen doesn't have to really die immediately. Don't forget that the 4 judges still have a resurrection golden egg in their hands. They can let him be accidentally eliminated first, and then successfully resurrect him into the top 16 candidates list, and still participate in the following competition. In this way, the dramatic effect is achieved, and the purpose of hype has been achieved. Everyone is happy. As for whether Lu Chen is willing to be fooled, does he, a newcomer, dare to fight against Beijing television? That would be a big joke. Lu Chen noticed the strange looks from the other contestants, and he even knew what the other party was thinking. But Lu Chen didn't care at all. How could a swallow and sparrow know the ambition of a swan? On the big screen on the stage, the word "one" was finally displayed, and a beautiful crown was used as a foil. Singing China Beijing Singing Area. The first contestant in the top 16 of 32 is out. He is Lu Chen. Contestant name, Lu Chen. Contestant number, 001 Song. You who sat next to me, judges total score, 39 points. Audience votes, 1,469 votes. Offsite audience votes, 726,502 votes. Overall score, 95. 35 points. That's right, it's Lu Chen. Beijing television didn't play any tricks. His title as the champion is well deserved. Thunderous applause suddenly sounded inside and outside the studio, and many audiences applauded and stood up, cheering for their favorite singer. Chapter 108. Amidst the beautiful music, all the contestants who advanced to the top 16 of Singing China, Beijing Singing Area appeared on the stage. The TV camera gave Lu Chen a big close-up. Fixed focus. Fang Yun couldn't help but reach out and rub her eyes, wiping away the tears overflowing from the corners of her eyes. Lu Shui leaned in her arms, holding her mobile phone and smiling happily. Forget grass bar. The customers are toasting. Whether they know each other or not, drink up this bar. Yi Zitong closed her notebook contentedly, but she suddenly found that 3 roommates were in front of her bed, staring at her with strange and ambiguous eyes. In Lu Fei's live broadcasting room, the celebratory atmosphere created by nearly 1 million online viewers reached its peak. Because Lu Chen won. Because our anchor Lu Fei won and successfully reached first place in the top 16. Everyone was a witness and a participant in it. This is also a victory that belongs to everyone. The next afternoon, at the exit of the capital high-speed railway station, Lu Chen stood in the crowded crowd. He looked at the passengers passing through the gate in front of him, looking for familiar figures. The LED electronic screen hanging above the gate clearly showed that train G31 had arrived at the station. Lu Chen is no stranger to this high-speed train. A year ago, he took the G31 from Binhai to Beijing to work. And today he came to pick up his sister Lu Xi. Last night, after the end of Singing China competition, Lu Chen called Lu Xi, hoping that the latter would come to Beijing in the next 2 days to help him complete the copyright transfer negotiations with Beijing Television. In fact, this is not a big deal, but for Lu Xi, it is an excellent opportunity to train. She has agreed to be Lu Chen's agent. Even Lu Chen didn't expect that Lucy would agree without hesitation and come here today. She didn't even ridicule Lu Chen as usual. More and more passengers passed through the gate, and fewer people came out of the station. However, Lu Xi was nowhere to be seen. Lu Chen couldn't help but feel a little anxious. He took out his phone and prepared to call her. At this moment, a woman wearing a plain dress and dragging a suitcase walked over from the passage ahead. Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief and waved his hand. Sister. This woman who came late was his sister, Lu Xi. Lu Xi glanced at Lu Chen. She took the ticket and passed through the gate with an indifferent expression. Let me do it. Lu Chen hurried forward to help her carry the big suitcase. Lu Xi tightened her grip on the lever, but in the end, she let go and gave it to Lu Chen. When he got out of the high-speed rail station, there was already a car waiting outside. In order to welcome the arrival of Lu Xi, Lu Chen specially asked Li Feiyu to help him rent a car, which was very convenient. This is Li Feiyu. Lu Chen introduced the part-time driver to Lu Xi. He is a friend I met in the capital, and also a helper at work. This is my sister, Lu Xi, the bustling Xi. Li Feiyu quickly greeted. Hello, Sister Lu Xi. I am now De Chen's assistant. Hello. Lu Xi nodded and said, You have some of the boss's style now. You even have an assistant. She said the last 2 sentences to Lu Chen. Lu Chen smiled bitterly. It was still a familiar taste. This was his sister Lu Xi. Her words were always thorny. Of course, it was only for him. Li Fei shrunk his head. Sensing that the relationship between the two of them was not very harmonious, he very cleverly shut his mouth. Originally, Lu Chen was going back to the apartment first, but Lu Xi wanted to go to the studio, so he turned to the Blue Sky Entrepreneurial Park on 5th Ring Road. Lu Chen's studio, located on the 19th floor of A8 building, is still very messy. Although the wall paint has been painted, because the custom-made desk and computer chair have not arrived, it looks empty, as if it has been blown by a strong wind. There were cardboard boxes of computer hosts, displays, printers, and so on stacked in the corner, and the floor was mopped clean. Once the tables and chairs were in place, business could be opened immediately. Of the 2 offices, one was temporarily transformed into a webcast room, with new computer microphones and other equipment purchased. When Lu Chen was unable to host the live broadcast, Li Feiyu served as the anchor. Lu Chen completed the live broadcast of Singing China in the top 16 of 32 competition through this room. At present, Whale TV's anchor job is still his most important source of income. As for the other uninstalled office, Lu Chen was going to leave it to Lu Xi. He hoped that in addition to serving as his agent, Lu Xi could also serve as the manager of the studio. With his sister's ability, there was no problem at all. As for Lu Chen himself, it was enough to concentrate on his music career. Maybe he would also be involved in acting in the future. The only problem was that there were not many employees in the studio at present, and they needed to recruit and replenish them. As for the business license, it was handled as early as 3 days ago. The studio, named after Lu Chen himself, has a registered capital of 100,000 yuan. It is a small and micro enterprise strongly supported by the government at present, so it enjoys preferential policies and resources in the Blue Sky Entrepreneurial Park. Not to mention that the speed of applying for the license is extremely fast. After entering the park, the studio is exempted from tax for the first year, the tax is reduced by half in the second year, and the tax is fully reduced in the third year, but you can apply for rent subsidies. In terms of operating environment, it is one of the best in Beijing. After understanding the situation, Lu Xi was obviously very satisfied. But this didn't mean that she was equally satisfied with Lu Chen. I have quit all the jobs in Binhai. This time I came to Beijing to live for a long time and take the postgraduate entrance examination. My mother wants me to help you and supervise you. The entertainment industry is so chaotic now, and we don't want you to fall in it. Lu Chen still smiled bitterly. After entering the 21st century, the domestic entertainment industry has flourished with the rise of the internet world. The scale is getting larger and larger, and stars are emerging one after another. The pop music and film and television industries are facing unprecedented changes, so it is inevitable that there will be a lot of negative effects. Who has been photographed cheating? Who has been caught taking drugs? Who has been fighting with who? Who has been exposed to unspoken rules? The general public likes stars and idols, but everyone's impression of the entertainment industry is not very good. Except for a very small number of people, no one in the entertainment industry is a real white lotus. Lu Chen was about to step into such a strange and dazzling circle. It was normal for Fang Yin to worry. If he had Lu Xi by his side to help him and supervise him, the situation would be much better. Lu Chen could fully understand his mother's thoughts. In addition, Lu Xi continued, there is no problem for you to let me be the manager of the studio, but when it comes to the studio, you must listen to my opinion. Otherwise, there is no need for me to stay here. Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, there should be no problem with this. If I have an idea, I will discuss it with you first. Even if they were siblings, there would still be contradictions in work, so communication was very important. Lu Xi thought for a moment and reluctantly nodded. Okay. In addition, the studio needs to recruit a clerk and my assistant. I want a woman. I will take care of the finance myself. There is no need to find another person. I will also recruit a receptionist and a professional in online media promotion. First, we will set up the framework of the studio, and then slowly expand it later. She quickly got into her new role. In addition to recruiting employees, she also put forward her own opinions on the layout of the office. Her words were clear and reasonable. Lu Chen was confused and quickly said, Sister, you can arrange these things. I will ask Li Ge to help you first. The receptionist Li Ji's friend may be willing to come. Others can be arranged by you. After that, Lu Chen handed over a bank card that had been prepared. He said to Lu Xi, all the funds of the studio are here. You can use it as you see fit. The password is your birthday. There was a total of 400,000 yuan in this card, which was most of the money that Lu Chen had earned some time ago, including the live broadcast tips, the anchor's salary, and the 200,000 yuan given by Li Bai. A lot of it had been used to pay for the rent of the office and the purchase of items. Lu Xi did not refuse. She took the bank card and looked at Lu Chen with a little more softness in her eyes. Let me take care of the money you earn in the future. Anyway, it will be used to pay off the debt at home. Lu Chen had no objection. He knew how much Lu Xi had done for the family in the past 2 years, at least much more than he had. And now it was time for him to bear the heavy responsibility. After visiting the studio, Lu Chen took Lu Xi to the rented apartment. He first sent Li Feiyu home, and then drove to Jinqingyuan. As early as when he was 18 years old, Lu Chen got a driver's license, but he had not driven much in the past 2 or 3 years, so he was careful on the road. He did not speed up until he got the feel of the car back. When he got home, he opened the door of the room and carried the heavy suitcase in first. Lu Xi followed him in. She took off her shoes and looked inside and outside. She said, "It's not as messy as I thought." Lu Chen could only smile bitterly. He had smiled bitterly many times today. When he was at home, He really did not pay much attention to hygiene. Sister, you can live in this apartment first. Lucy was stunned and asked, then where do you live? This apartment only had one bedroom and one living room. If they lived together, Lu Chen could only sleep on the sofa. But he had other plans. There is a lounge in the studio. It's enough for me to live, and it's convenient for work. Lucy was silent for a moment and said, actually, you don't have to be so good to me. Lu Chen interrupted her. You are my sister. Lucy was silent again. After a moment she said, then take me to the nearby shopping mall. I want to buy something. Don't go to those high-end places. It's a waste of money. Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, then let's go to Hathaway Mall. The things there are good and cheap. Hathaway Mall was located near the university town. It was a mid-range shopping mall, so it was favored by college students and ordinary white-collar workers. Moreover, the discounts in the mall were often very high during the off-season of summer vacation. In addition, after shopping, they could eat in the mall, and it was also very convenient to go to Forget Grass Bar in the evening. Lu Chen was going to introduce Lu Xi to Chen Jianhao. Lu Xi was not familiar with the capital, so of course, she did not object to his arrangement. Chapter 109. Although the name of Hathaway Mall was not trendy, it was a well-known brand in the area around the university town. Its scale was large enough to concentrate shopping malls, supermarkets, restaurants, cinemas, internet cafes, game halls, and other popular commercial facilities. It wouldn't be boring to play in it for a day. There was food, drink, and entertainment, and it was fun. The business positioning of Hathaway Mall was very clear. The target audience was the hundreds of thousands of teachers and students in the university town, and the ordinary white-collar and blue-collar workers in the nearby business district. There were basically no luxury brands in the mall. It mainly sold mid-range goods. Lu Chen had been to Hathaway Mall more than once before, so he was still very familiar with the area. He drove Lu Xi to the parking lot in the north of the mall, and then walked along the pedestrian path to the interior of the mall. Because it was the weekend, the mall was very lively with people coming and going. Let's eat first. Lu Chen looked at the time and said, the Yunjin restaurant here tastes good, and the price is reasonable. Lu Xi said, that's good. It's enough to order 2 or 3 dishes. I can't eat much. Lu Chen said with a smile, I've been eating a lot recently. 2 or 3 dishes are not enough. I need at least 5 or 6. Lu Xi reached out and squeezed his arm and said, you are a lot stronger. She rarely did this to Lu Chen in the past. They were both in a strange city and for the same goal. The gap between the two was slowly melting. Just as they were talking, 4 girls came from the front door and happened to meet the two of them. One of the girls in a yellow shirt was stunned, and her face showed a look of disbelief. The girl in a white dress who was following her suddenly turned pale. This girl was Yi Zitong. The 4 girls in the same dormitory chose to live on campus during the summer vacation and stayed in Beijing for the rest of the summer. Tonight, Yi Zitong was dragged to the mall by Zhuo Xintian with her other 2 roommates. They never expected to bump into Lu Chen in Hathaway Mall. When she saw Lu Chen chatting and laughing intimately with the woman beside him, she felt as if her heart had been pierced by a sharp knife. Although Yi Zitong knew very well that she and Lu Chen weren't really boyfriend and girlfriend, the scene in front of her still made her feel ashamed, angry, painful, and embarrassed. Not only Zhuo Xintian, but the other 2 roommates also knew Lu Chen and knew that they were dating. Lu Chen. Zhuo Xintian was the first to yell. How could you do this? She was about to rush forward and argue with Lu Chen, but Yi Zitong stopped her. Forget it. Zhuo Xintian was exasperated. How can you forget it? You like him so much, and he's like this. In Zhuo Xintian's eyes, Lu Chen was simply the legendary Chen Shimi's heartbreaker. He had shown his face on TV, and as soon as he became a little famous, he began to fool around. He actually dated another woman behind Yi Zitong's back. This was intolerable. What annoyed Zhuo Xintian the most was that in terms of appearance, the women around Lu Chen couldn't compare to Yi Zitong at all. Easy. Lu Chen, who was also shocked, suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He hurriedly went forward and asked Yi Zitong, you and Tian are also shopping in the mall? Yi Zitong turned her head and ignored him, but her eyes were red. Tian, let's go. Xuexintian and the other two girls looked at Lu Chen with disdain. Their gazes were like knives cutting flesh and scraping bones. Lu Shi looked at them with a faint smile on her face. Lu Chen hurriedly grabbed Yi Zitong's hand, afraid that she would ignore everything and run away. That would really be a big misunderstanding. Yi Zi, this is my sister Lu Shi. She just came from home today. Ah, sister? The three girls were stunned. At this time, they realized that Lu Shi and Lu Chen were really similar. They were brother and sister. What a joke. Xuexintian wanted to find a hole to hide in, and her face was as red as an autumn apple. Yi Zitong struggled to break free from Lu Chen's hand, but when she heard his explanation, she was also stunned. A faint blush appeared on her pale face, and she was at a loss for a moment. This misunderstanding was really a bit big, and the worst thing was that she had no reason to be jealous. After all, the two of them only had a good impression of each other. At this time, Lu Shi came over and asked with a smile, "Hello, I am Lu Chen's sister Lu Shi. Are you his friend?" Lu Chen let go of Yi Zitong's hand and introduced a little awkwardly, "Sister, this is Yi Zitong. They are all students of Beijing Normal University, and they are friends I met in Beijing." Yi Zitong suppressed her shyness and gathered her courage to raise her head and said, "Sister Lu Shi, hello." Lu Shi said with a smile, "It's nice to meet you. Your name is Yi Zi, right? I just settled down in Beijing, and now I want to buy something, but I don't know where to go. Can you help me look around?" In front of Yi Zitong, Lu Shi was completely a gentle and amiable big sister, and she couldn't help but nod. After the misunderstanding was resolved, Yi Zitong introduced Lu Shi to Xuexintian and her other two classmates. The age difference between the girls was not very big, so they quickly became familiar with each other. As a result, Lu Chen was left out in the cold. Fortunately, they still had to eat. After a discussion, they went to Yunjin restaurant to share a table. Lu Shi seemed to like Yi Zitong very much, and kept talking to her. Even when they were eating, they didn't let go. After a meal, the two of them called each other Sister Shi and Zitong. After eating this sumptuous dinner, Lu Chen paid the bill. His elder sister was a big adult, and didn't ask him to accompany the girls to the mall to act as a bagman, that is, the kind of role that carries bags. She said that she would contact them after they had bought something. It must have been a long time. Lu Chen thought about it, and simply went to the internet cafe on the top floor of the mall to surf the internet to kill time. After registering with his ID card and turning on a computer, he logged on to the web and searched for related content of Singing China. As a result, he found a lot of things. As the first contestant in the top 16 of Singing China, Beijing Singing District, except for the official website of Singing China, Lu Chen's name is basically nowhere to be seen on other websites, and the few that are reprinted are only small websites with little fame. In some forums and post bars, there are a lot of discussions about Lu Chen, mainly talking about his original works. In sharp contrast to Lu Chen, several contestants in the top 16 have far surpassed him in keyword search items, such as newcomer Zheng Kai performed well, conquered the judges with his natural singing voice, and won the top 16 seat of Singing China, Beijing Singing District, and so on. Lu Chen is well aware of the reason, that is, these contestants have signed up with entertainment agencies, and there is a team behind them to hype and promote, so those big websites will put up promotional articles and search everywhere. In this regard, Lu Chen doesn't feel uncomfortable or aggrieved, because the current entertainment industry is like this. It's hard to become popular without spending money to hype. If there is no topic, you have to create a topic to attract attention. Newcomers like him who purely rely on themselves are completely rare. Being willing to give up, only by giving up can one gain. Abandoning vanity, Lu Chen obtained autonomy and freedom. Moreover, gold will always shine. Now it's just a competition in the Beijing Singing District. When it comes to the tour competition and the finals, his name will inevitably be known by more and more people. Even if he doesn't spend money, he may still be able to make headlines. In addition, Lu Chen is also organizing his own team to strengthen online publicity. After closing the news search, he logged on to the Waves blog again. Lu Chen FMX's account was registered 2 weeks ago, and has been certified as a personal V account. At present, it has more than 75,000 fans, basically all of whom are whale TV fans. Thanks to Li Bai's help and publicity, otherwise, Lu Chen might not have gotten so many fans by himself. According to this local tyrant, in fact, it's too easy to increase his fans. It's very simple to spend some money to buy millions or tens of millions of fans. With a little packaging, he can become the so-called Big V, that is, a celebrity in the blog. It's just that for this kind of Big V made up of zombie fans, Lu Chen still politely declined. Because he doesn't like to deceive others, and he doesn't like to deceive himself. Time flew by as he updated 2 posts on his blog, and answered a lot of questions from his fans. At about 9 o'clock, Lu Shi called. They were finally done with their stroll. Lu Chen got off the plane, paid the bill and left. Back at the main entrance of the mall, he saw Lu Shi and the 4 girls again. Everyone was carrying big and small bags. They had a lot of harvest in the evening. After meeting, Lu Shi said to Lu Chen, "Give me the car keys and the keys to your house. I'll send Tian and the others back to school first, and then go home by myself. You can accompany Zitong." Lu Chen looked at her in surprise, and then looked at Yi Zitong. The latter blushed and didn't speak. Naturally, she didn't object. Zhuoxintian pursed her lips and said with a smile, "You two are so fun. It doesn't matter if you come back late. Goodbye." She winked at Yi Zitong. The redness on Yi Zitong's face deepened, and she glared at her. Lu Chen was a little worried and asked, "Sister, do you know how to get to Jincheng Yuan?" He was afraid that Lu Shi wouldn't be able to find the way back. Lu Shi said, "Even if I don't remember the way, can't I use my mobile phone to navigate?" Lu Chen admitted defeat and gave her the car keys and the keys to his house. After Lu Shi left with Zhuoxintian and the other 2 girls, only Lu Chen and Yi Zitong were left. Speaking of which, since the last time they went skating, the 2 hadn't seen each other for a while. They just chatted through WeChat. Now that he met her again, Lu Chen's heart couldn't help but feel a trace of tenderness. Today may have been a coincidence, but it may be fate between the 2. He naturally took Yi Zitong's hand and said, "Are you tired of shopping? Let's go to the ice shop over there." Yi Zitong nodded softly. After a small misunderstanding, the relationship between the 2 has undoubtedly taken a big step forward. Although the relationship hasn't been made clear yet, it is precisely this kind of hazy emotion that is the most touching. At this moment, Lu Chen didn't know, on the internet, a storm of public opinion that was closely related to him was about to sweep across. Chapter 110. On Monday morning, when the battle for office workers began, Wang Jiashe was like a berserker charging into battle. He took heavy and powerful steps, rushed into the elevator before many competitors, and firmly occupied the best position in the middle near the door. The poor elevator car trembled under his weight of more than 100 kilograms, and the steel cable hanging above made a crunching sound. Finally, it barely withstood the difficult test. It was just that other people in the elevator couldn't help but be a little scared and have some kind of bad association. The white-collar man who was 1 step behind just stepped in, and the overloaded buzzer suddenly sounded. Under everyone's cold gaze, he could only retreat and stare at Wang Jiashe with infinite resentment. If this guy wasn't here, at least 2 people like him could squeeze in. Wang Jiashe had already trained his face to be +10 in defense. He completely ignored the sputtering eyes and waited for the elevator door to close. On the 10th floor, he was the first to rush out. When Wang Jiashe rushed into the company and finished punching his card, the LCD clock hanging on the card punching machine showed exactly 9 o'clock. On his first day back from vacation, he was not late. Fatty Wang wiped the sweat on his forehead with lingering fear. He felt like he had escaped from death. Half a year ago, his company, Xinxiani, changed its major shareholder. The new CEO, a new official, was very strict. He formulated very strict rules and regulations. If he was late once, his full attendance bonus would be deducted, and if he was late twice, his monthly performance bonus would be deducted. Wang Jiashe was fat and liked to sleep. In addition, his biological clock didn't adjust in time during his half-month vacation, so he overslept and was almost late. Fortunately, he swiped his card on time. "Old Wang, you're back? Brother Wang, is Phuket fun? Look at you, you're tanned." Editor Wang, I've put your worksheet on your desk. 2 sheets of printed paper. Meeting at 2 p.m. His colleagues arrived early. They had already started working. When they saw Wang Jiasher, they all greeted him. Wang Jiasher, who is 32 years old, is also a veteran employee of Enchanting. He has a good personality and is really talented, so he has a good relationship with his colleagues. But during work hours, his colleagues only exchanged a few words with him. If it were in the past, they would have surrounded him and asked him how he was, if he had any romantic encounters, and where the gifts for everyone were. Wang Jiasher replied with a smile. He didn't distribute the small gifts in his handbag. He rushed into his office before the boss appeared. This office of about 5 square meters could barely accommodate a small computer desk. All the available space was used up. The bookcase was fixed on the wall, and it was filled with all kinds of books. Although the place was cramped, Wang Jiasher was already very satisfied. Because as long as the door was closed, this was his independent world. It was not a problem for him to smoke. It was the company's special care for a senior employee plus a heavy smoker like him. Wang Jiasher is the editor of Enchanting's Pop Colors. Pop Colors is a new media online magazine. The app developed by the company has maintained the top 3 market share among similar software in the field of smartphones. Therefore, it is quite famous in the industry and the advertising revenue is not bad. Pop Colors focuses on international and domestic trends, covering fashion elements such as movies, television, music and popular brands. The target group is mainly young people in the city. Wang Jiasher is the editor of the pop music section. He has been working for 10 years and has been doing the same work. His pen name Stone Man is widely known in the circle. The music review articles he wrote often appear on the front page. Opening the window for ventilation, Wang Jiasher habitually smoked a Lanzhou cigarette, holding the mouse in his right hand and skillfully opened the browser to log on to the official website of China Music Chart. He wanted to see the song rankings in recent weeks. As a result, as soon as the web page was opened, Wang Jiasher saw, in the spring, at the top of the list at a glance. Wang Jiasher has a little impression of the song's title. He remembered that it was on the chart before his vacation, but it was at the bottom of the list, and he did not have time to pay attention to it. In just over half a month, it rushed to the top of the list? Wang Jiasher felt a little incredulous. The singer The Bionics was unknown in the pop music world. He had never heard of them before. How could their new work rise so fast? There must be something fishy about it. Wang Jiasher bit the filter of the cigarette and turned to the previous week's ranking. In the spring was still at the top of the list. This immediately aroused Wang Jiasher's strong interest. If there was an element of luck in the top of the list for a week, then continuously dominating the list must be an element of strength. Although the fairness of the original music chart was often questioned in the past 2 years, there was no more authoritative list than it in China at present. He clicked on the Youshur link behind in the spring. The partners of China Original Music Chart include QQ Music, NetEase Music, Pop Radio, Youshur and other new online media, so the songs on the list have corresponding website links. The links on Youshur were all music videos, so it was more enjoyable. He clicked on a video page titled, The New Power of Rock and Roll, Wandering in the Spring. The video was uploaded more than a month ago, and the number of views was as high as 1.7 billion plus. Such an astonishing number of views made Wang Jiasher shake his head. Nowadays, new online media like to make a big fuss about data. One click can be blown into 10 or even 100, to the point that it makes people speechless. Not only Youshur, but also QQ Music and NetEase Music are no exception. They often have tens of millions or hundreds of millions of clicks or viewers, using big data to boost the value of advertising. In addition, there are endless means of making hype and promotion, and it is difficult to distinguish between true and false. This more or less ruined Wang Jiasher's mood to listen to songs and appreciate music. He clicked the play button with flagging interest. After 15 seconds of advertising, the music video began. Soon, a hoarse, powerful song began to reverberate in the small room. I still remember the spring many years ago, when I hadn't cut my long hair. I didn't have a credit card, I didn't have her, and I didn't have a home with 24-hour hot water. But I was so happy at the time, although I only had a broken wooden guitar, singing the songs that no one cared about in the street, under the bridge, in the field. 5 minutes later, The music video was over. Wang Jiashi leaned back in his chair in a daze. The cigarette in his mouth was about to burn out. Half of the cigarette ash fell on his body, but he was unaware of it. His eyes showed a complex look of deep shock. Why did he only hear such a song now? His lips moved a few times. Wang Jiashi felt that he wanted to say something, and there was a kind of passion surging in his chest. But before he could say anything, the cigarette in his mouth fell out. It fell right on his crotch. F***ck. The thin fat man's shorts were immediately burned with a hole, almost in the vital part. Wang Jiashi suddenly woke up. He jumped up abruptly, and as a result, his thigh heavily hit the bottom of the keyboard bracket. He almost overturned the computer table. Wang Jiashi really wanted to cry. He quickly reached out and slapped the cigarette, but that was still stuck to his shorts. After a moment of confusion, he sat down again. The music video had finished playing, and it almost caused a tragedy, but Wang Jiashi's mood was not disturbed because of this. His mood was still agitated. After living in the capital for 10 years, this super big city was still unfamiliar to him. The passion and ideals that he once had already disappeared with time. He only persisted in order to survive. Wang Jiashi did not have a house in the capital because he could not afford it. He also did not have a girlfriend because no good girl liked him. The most extravagant thing that he had experienced in his life was the half-month vacation he had just spent abroad. Now listening to this song in the spring, and watching the story of joys and sorrows in the MV, Wang Jiashi found that the strength he thought was actually fragile. He was deeply moved and moved. After taking a deep breath, Wang Jiashi rubbed his sore eyes and lit a cigarette again. Wang Jiashi was going to write an article for this song, and put it in the music recommendation of the new issue of Pop Colors. Of course, he first had to have a comprehensive understanding of the song, such as the singer, the bionics, and the songwriter. However, Wang Jiashi quickly discovered a very interesting thing, which was that the bionics had a total of 3 songs on the chart. In addition to In the Spring at the top, Reason to Be Strong ranked 7th, and I Want to Have a Home ranked 12th were all written by the same person, Lu Chen. Wang Jiashi was very unfamiliar with this name. He was definitely not a well-known songwriter in the industry. Ordinary listeners usually don't care who the writer of the song is. It's like ordering a meal in a restaurant. If everyone thinks that a dish is delicious, it's enough to remember the name of the dish and the name of the restaurant. They won't ask who the chef is. But Wang Jiashi was not an ordinary person. As the editor of the music section of Pop Colors, he was more interested in the story hidden behind the song. In addition to the singer the Bionics, he also had a strong desire to explore Lu Chen the writer. What kind of person can write such an excellent rock and roll work? In Wang Jiashi's mind, he constructed a middle-aged man with a face full of vicissitudes and firm eyes. He drifted around the world. He experienced hardships. He was talented. He sang loudly in the wind with his guitar. If one day I leave quietly, please bury me in the spring. Wang Jiashi typed in the spring plus Lu Chen in the browser search bar. Enter to confirm. The search engine immediately searched for a lot of relevant or irrelevant information. And the first of them was a post in the Sky Forum. The unworthy super singer. The inside story of the elimination of Lu Chen, the author of In the Spring. Keywords: super singer in the spring Lu Chen. Chapter 111. Sky Forum is one of the largest BBS forums in China, with more than 150 million registered users. It is known as the online home of Chinese people all over the world. It has opened up 9 main pages such as news and current affairs, people's livelihood vision, film and television gossip, gossip chat, literature reading, fashion hotspots, emotional home, etc., with as many as 50-plus subsections. Its China International Outlook, domestic vision, entertainment gossip, anecdotes, and other subsections are extremely popular, with hundreds of thousands or even millions of active users. The forum has been established for 20 years, and many internet hot events and internet celebrities have emerged. Therefore, Sky Forum has also become one of the important battlefields of internet pushers. The post that Wang Jiashi clicked on accusing Super Singer of being unworthy of its name was posted in the entertainment gossip section. The ID of the poster is Stray Cats, and it has been a hot post with more than 1 million clicks. The ID Stray Cats is very famous in the entertainment section of Sky Forum. His identity is quite mysterious. No one knows whether he is a man or a woman, or what his occupation is. He daily exposes in the entertainment section big and small information in the entertainment industry. For example, a certain star has cheated, a certain idol has scolded his fans, a certain big shot is gay. Stray Cats posts have a common feature, that is, they all have something in common, and the information they break out is often genuine, and there are very few groundless or fictitious facts. Therefore, they are regarded as the guiding light of the entertainment section by forum netizens. His posts are often very concerned by everyone. In just a few hours after it was posted, it has reached the top of the board, with more than 10,000 replies. On Monday morning, the number of 10,000 plus replies was amazing. In this post, Stray Cats took out the popular variety show Super Singer on Shonen TV and beat it up. The incident that blew up was Lu Chun, who was eliminated in the audition. Lu Chun, male, 22 years old, a Beijing drifting singer, once a resident singer in a bar in Hohai. Just based on these few paragraphs of information, not many people knew who Lu Chun was. Among the 30 million plus people in the capital, there were at least 10 million drifters. Unknown singers were simply as many as the hairs on an ox. In Hohai Sanlitun, throwing a brick could knock over a few of them. However, Stray Cats also pointed out Lu Chun's other identity. Lu Chun was the songwriter of the Bionics, In the Spring, Reasons to Be Strong, and I Want to Have a Home. He was a talented pop music composer. What? You said you haven't heard these 3 songs? Go to the official website of China Music Chart and take a look. In the Spring firmly occupied the top spot in the 3rd and 4th week of July. Moreover, Reasons to Be Strong was currently ranked 7th, and I Want to Have a Home was ranked 12th. The Bionics album In the Spring had climbed to 2nd place last week. As a small album with only 5 songs, it is already against the natural order to have such a high ranking on the original music chart, because the Bionics is a new group that has just debuted. Anyone who was not blind would know that their success was inseparable from the 3 songs composed by Lu Chun. Such an outstanding composer was eliminated in the audition of Super Singer? That was simply the biggest joke in the world. Stray Cats also mentioned in the post that Lu Chun not only has outstanding creative talent, but his playing and singing level is also very good, so there is no possibility of him being eliminated because of his poor performance in the audition. In order to prove his words, he attached 2 links to Ushare below. The first link was a clip of Lu Chun singing in the qualifying round of Singing China, and the second was a live video of Lu Chun winning the first place in the top 16 of 32. And the songs that Lu Chun used to participate in the competition were all his own original works. In this regard, Stray Cats commented, "We always say that domestic original works are not good. Most idol stars can only cover and imitate pop music in Europe, the United States, Japan and South Korea. There are fewer and fewer good composers. But in fact there are talented people in every generation. It's not that there are no excellent composers, but they can't get the opportunity." Super Singer should have been the most suitable stage for Lu Chun to display his talent. But because of the malicious suppression of some people, he was forced to run to Singing China, to fight for his own honor, which is really sad and lamentable. This is also the sorrow of the domestic pop music world. Stray Cats finally said that the reason why he revealed it in the forum was not because he was paid to speak for others. He didn't know Lu Chun and he had no dealings with Lu Chun. It was someone who told him first, and he was deeply moved by the songs written and sung by Lu Chun, so he took the initiative to fire at Shonen TV. Stray Cats' 2 favorite songs are In the Spring by the Bionics and You Who Sat Next to Me by Lu Chun. This post is very long. The content includes a description of Lu Chun's elimination from the audition of Super Singer, his appreciation and understanding of the song, In the Spring, and a strong attack on the atmosphere of domestic pop music. And there are reasons and evidence. There are videos and the truth. At the end of the post, Stray Cats added a sentence. Super Singer. Lu Chun throws Ling Xiaoxiao at least 3 streets away. It took Wang Jiashir more than half an hour to read the post completely. Of course, it included the time to watch 2 live videos. He read it very carefully, and even browsed a lot of replies. The number of replies to this hot post is very high, and the comment area is refreshed very quickly. Another hype? Ors, it's actually a post by the god of stray cats. I like it. Ha ha ha, are Shonen TV and Beijing television going to fight? I've already expected it. This material is a bit interesting. I'm curious about who are the people who are suppressing the newcomers. In the spring? Ah, my favorite song recently. I looped it dozens of times last night. I've heard of In the Spring. I didn't expect it to be written by a peer. I thought it was originally created by the Bionics. I've seen the competition of Singing China as Top 32. Lu Chen's singing is very good. I support him. With the cat god's move, there will be another bloody storm in Jianghu. Can I say that I like Ling Xiaoxiao? Good material. The Sky Forum is a mix of good and bad people. There are all kinds of replies, some are curious, some are skeptical, and some are supportive. And Wang Jiashi very much agrees with Stray Cats' understanding and appreciation of the song In the Spring. At the same time, he also thinks that Lu Chen, who wrote the song, is a very good songwriter. If the latter's performance in Singing China is taken into account, it is not an exaggeration to say that he is an outstanding singer and songwriter. However, Wang Jiashi couldn't imagine that a song like In the Spring was written by a 22-year-old young man, shattering the impression he had previously built in his mind. As for the inside story of Lu Chen's suppression, Wang Jiashi has little interest in it. Stray Cats is also said to be a big marketing account. He has seen a lot of gossip posts by the other party, many of which are true, and some of which are deliberately hyped. Even as an insider, he can't completely distinguish between truth and falsehood. But just for the song In the Spring itself, Wang Jiashi has too much to say. He closed the webpage, opened the work software, and typed the words, In the Spring in the title. He wrote, I just came back from a vacation abroad, and I haven't recovered from the jet lag yet. Today I ran to the company to work. Then I heard a song called In the Spring. I think this song should be known and heard by many people, and have their own experience and feelings. It seems that I don't need to say anything more, just listen to the song. But there are some words that are stuck in my heart. It's very uncomfortable if I don't say it. I really want to share it with others, so there is this article. This is a song that seems to be relatively petty bourgeois. It is written about a person who already has credit card, little princess, and home with 24-hour hot water, and all the pain of the past has gone with the wind. It is a nostalgia for the once difficult and uninterested youth past, as well as a cry and worry for the unknown tomorrow. All of this can be seen from the lyrics of the song. The lyrics of In the Spring are not complicated. It is a simple 3-paragraph structure. The first 2 main songs write about the difficult and happy days of the past, and the second one write about the sad and confused days that are no longer difficult, and the overall climax is the worry for the future, and the expression of the ultimate belonging of life. What makes me deeply moved is the strong emotion contained in this song. For a whole morning of working time, Wang Jiashi was writing the same article. He repeatedly wrote and revised, word by word. Several paragraphs were repeated 7 or 8 times, because he was not satisfied. It was very difficult for him to write a recommendation article with just 1,000 words. Because when Wang Jiashi tapped on the keyboard, he also tapped his inspired emotions into the text. In the small room, there was only the clicking sound of the keyboard. At the same time, the unworthy super singer, the author of In the Spring, Lu Chen, was eliminated. This post, which was first posted on the Sky Forum, was also forwarded to his blog by Stray Cats. Stray Cats is not a big V in the Waves blog, but when he had a number of good friends in the blogging circle, he was liked and forwarded by these big V bloggers with hundreds, or even tens of millions of fans. Today is the first working day after the weekend. It is the time when office workers and white-collar elites are busy, so the post does not spread fast on the blog, and the number of forwards is not very high. However, during the lunch break, the number of forwards brought by several big Vs suddenly skyrocketed, jumping from the initial dozens of hundreds to more than 5,000, and the number of comments also exceeded 3,000, forming a small hot spot. But this is just the beginning. Like a brewing storm, the wind is blowing. Chapter 112. Beijing Television, Program Department. The freshly printed contract paper was still warm, and Lu Chen signed his name on it with a pen. This is the copyright transfer contract. He transferred part of the copyright and the right to use the song, Life on a String, to Beijing Television. Today is Monday. In the morning, Lu Chen contacted Gurue, the music director of Singing China program group. Then in the afternoon, he rushed to the TV station with his sister, Lu Shi, to finalize the contract. As Lu Chen's agent, Lu Shi got into her role very quickly. She basically took control of the negotiation process. Lu Chen just needed to sit aside and smile. It was enough to keep smiling. In the entertainment industry, the image of a star idol is very important, and it involves many contracts. If they are all negotiated by themselves, they will be killed by others even if they are not exhausted to death. Therefore, an agent is an indispensable standard. The reliability and professionalism of an agent largely determine the future of a star. In the entertainment industry, there are many examples of choosing the wrong agent, which led to the destruction of the future. Lu Chen asked his sister to be an agent. First of all, relatives are undoubtedly the most reliable. Even if Lu Shi's relationship with him is not as close as Lu Shui's, she is bound to stand firmly on his side in the face of outsiders. Secondly, Lu Shi has an agent's qualification certificate, and she is smart enough. To be an agent, one must first be a villain. Cowards can't do this job. Although Lu Shi is not a real villain, her strength and shrewdness ensure that Lu Chen can get reasonable returns. Even though it was her first time as an entertainment agent, she still performed very well. All day yesterday, Lu Shi was studying information related to entertainment agents and Beijing Television. Before coming to negotiate, she even drew up the contract in advance. The time limit for the transfer of Life on a String to Beijing Television is 10 years. The latter can use the song in the program production and publicity of Singing China. The transfer fee is a symbolic 1 yuan. In return, A Life on a String will be sung by Lu Chen himself. Beijing Television cannot authorize others to cover it. In addition, Beijing Television will also invite him to sing this song on stage at the National Day Gala. Since the establishment of the TV station, Beijing Television has held a celebration party every year on the eve of the National Day. Although it is not as grand as CCTV's National Day Party, the domestic ratings are not low. Therefore, if one wanted to appear in this gala, one's strength and connections could not be lacking. In other words, Lu Chen got a good chance to show his face while retaining most of his rights. It was not easy to win this contract. It should be known that compared to Lu Chen, Beijing Television is an absolute giant. It is impossible for the two sides to have an equal relationship. A song is dispensable for Beijing Television, but Beijing Television is the most important platform for Lu Chen's debut. Even if the former asked Lu Chen to transfer the copyright unconditionally, he didn't have much choice. But Lu Shi, with her sincerity and persistence, convinced the representatives of the program team, mainly Gurue. Of course, this contract did not exceed the bottom line of Beijing Television. It was a win-win contract that satisfied both sides. Happy cooperation. After signing the contract, Lu Chen and Gurue shook hands. Thank you, Director Gu. Gurue held his hand and said with a smile, "The world in the future belongs to young people like you. Lu Chen, you have a very good agent. I am looking forward to more cooperation between us in the future." Gurue appreciated Lu Shi very much. He was even more surprised after knowing that she was Lu Chen's sister. This pair of brother and sister are not very similar. These words of Gurue actually contained a hidden meaning, but now Lu Chen could not hear it. Thank you. After leaving Beijing Television, Lu Chen and Lu Shi returned to the single apartment they rented. The dinner was cooked by his sister. The ingredients were bought in the nearby supermarket, which was very fresh and clean. In terms of cooking, Lu Shi had learned from Lu Chen's mother, Fang Yun. Several home-cooked dishes were cooked with color, smell, and taste, which made Lu Chen praise them. It was a feeling of returning to his own home. In the middle of the meal, he suddenly said, "Sister, when I pay off my family's debt, I will buy a big house in the capital and let my mother retire early to live here. Lu Shui will also come to the capital to study. In this way, our family can be reunited again." When he worked in KFC, when Lu Chen was tired and lying in bed to rest, he would occasionally have the same idea, but he never thought that his dream could become a reality. The heavy debt in his family made him think that he would be like this for the rest of his life. But now, the debt has not been paid off, but realizing his dream is not out of reach. Lu Shi's expression was stiff. She slowly swallowed the food in her mouth and said, "Let's eat." There was an unprecedented gentleness in her voice. After a pause she said, "Mom probably won't come over. She is used to living in Binhai." Her tone returned to its original tone. Lu Chen nodded silently. After dinner he went to the studio over at the Creative Park. Lu Chen gave the single apartment in Jincheng Garden to Lu Shi to live in. He lived in the studio for the time being. The live broadcast equipment had already been transferred there, and the live broadcast at night was carried out there as usual. After signing the contract with Whale TV, in addition to the reward share, Lu Chen can also get a generous anchor salary every month. Correspondingly, he also has the obligations and responsibilities of his work. He must ensure that there is enough live broadcast time. After the live broadcast, Lu Chen slept in the lounge. The next day, Tuesday morning, July 28th, he got up early and went out for a run. Morning exercise has become a good habit for Lu Chen. In the persistent exercise, he can clearly feel the changes in his body. He is healthier, more energetic, and energetic. It's just that the place of exercise has been changed from the artificial riverside to the central garden of the Creative Park. At 9 o'clock, Lu Chen, who had breakfast, returned to the studio. "De Chen, come here." As a result, as soon as he opened the door with the key, he heard Li Feiyu shouting in the inner room. Something happened. Lu Chen's heart sank and he hurriedly ran over. What happened? Li Feiyu was in the live broadcast room. The computer was turned on, and the screen was showing the Waves blog. Li Feiyu currently serves as Lu Chen's assistant. In addition to helping him complete the live broadcast task, he also helps him manage the blog, Fish Nest and QQ Group, and strengthens the communication and exchange with fans. Come and see. Li Feiyu clicked on the comment area of the latest blog post of Lu Chen FMX. The content of this blog post is ordinary. It's just a daily selfie of Lu Chen with a few lines of text, but the number of comments has reached more than 30,000, which is completely unreasonable. And in the comment area, it's all cursing messages. What bullshit creator? How can he compare to our Xiao Xiao? He using our brother Xiao Xiao to hype up? You think you can compare with Ling Xiao Xiao? Hurry up and apologize, otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. In the spring is so bad. This broken song is only for people who are out of the times to listen to. Apologize. 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 Shameless hype. Lu Chen, get out of the entertainment industry. One should be down to earth. Don't think about using crooked ways to get ahead. Is it interesting? Get out. Get out. Get out. There are also many more unpleasant swear words, which are displayed and polluting the screen. Lu Chen's self-restraint is very good. Seeing these foul words, he can't help but get angry. Are these guys crazy? Who is Ling Xiao Xiao? Do I know him? His first feeling was that he was being slandered. He wanted to curse, but he didn't know who to scold. Li Feiyu quickly said, "Calm down first, I probably understand." He brought up a new webpage, which is also the page of Waves blog, but belongs to another blogger. This blogger, called Stray Cats, is a small V account with more than 300,000 fans, and his latest blog post has been forwarded more than 25,000, with more than 50,000 views. The key is the content of this blog post. The unworthy super singer. The inside story of the elimination of Lu Chen, the author of In the Spring. Faint. Lu Chen never thought that his blog was attacked, and it was actually related to his elimination in the last Super Singer audition. He really doesn't know how this little V got the inside story. Tian, that's right. It's not right to say that he didn't know at all. At least Lu Chen thought of someone. He immediately asked Li Feiyu to open the long blog post. The blog posts of Waves blog are divided into two types, long and short. The short blog post is limited to 50 words and can be displayed directly. The long blog post is unlimited, but it needs to be clicked to view the full text. And it was this long blog post that made Lu Chen fully understand the ins and outs of the matter. Not to mention the inside story, the last sentence of the blog post alone is enough to explain the reason for being slandered. Super singer Lu Chen throws Ling Xiao Xiao at least 3 streets away. This sentence is too hateful. Lu Chen doesn't know Ling Xiao Xiao at all, but he was pulled by stray cats to be the MT. He doesn't know whether to cry or laugh. If he blames stray cats, then they will praise him and cry out for injustice. By the way, they will slap Shonen TV in the face and provide him with an opportunity to increase his fame. If he doesn't blame them, then is Ling Xiaoxiao collateral damage? Lu Chen soon learned the identity of this person. The other party is a newcomer who stands out in the Shanghai singing area of Super Singer. He has performed well in the audition, preliminary and semifinals. His 3 original works have been well received by the industry, so he is being promoted by Shonen TV. Ling Xiaoxiao also opened a blog on Waves, and his blog has more than 3 million fans. Among the people who like him, there are many young boys and girls. They are the main force attacking Lu Chen. Chapter 113. Waves blog is the largest blog website in China, and it can be said to be one of the most important positions of new public opinion media. The slightest disturbance here could be artificially amplified, forming a wildfire that could start a prairie fire. And in Waves blog, there are also a large number of marketing accounts and online speculators. Once a hot event is triggered, whether it involves their own interests or not, they often intervene in it to add fuel to the flames or fish in troubled waters. Lu Chen's elimination from Super Singer was undoubtedly the blog post of stray cats, but what really ignited it was the 3 statements of Shonen TV Super Singer program team official V. The first statement was issued at 11:02 p.m. on July 27th. The content was very simple. It was a public statement against Stray Cats' blog post, saying that the so-called inside story revealed by the other party was pure nonsense and not worth refuting, and warning some people not to maliciously hype. Just 20 minutes later, at 11:22 p.m., Super Singer official V posted a new blog post again, which was also a detailed criticism of Stray Cats' blog post. It's a bit like slapping yourself in the face. In the second blog post, the program team pointed out that the audition process of Super Singer is open and fair, and there is no possibility of under-the-table manipulation, let alone malicious suppression of newcomers. In fact, it is precisely the emergence of this reality talent show that has made an indelible contribution to the original power of domestic pop music, which has made more and more excellent creative talents stand out. As for Lu Chen, who has participated in the audition of Super Singer, the program team said that they also regretted missing this excellent composer. In the Spring is a very good original work. However, Lu Chen did not sing this song in the audition of Super Singer, but chose another work. His performance at that time was not recognized by the judges, so he was eliminated. And this just reflects the fairness and rigor of Super Singer, which is the reason why the ratings of the program are rising. The reputation of the program team cannot be tarnished and slandered. The truth was that simple. The Super Singer program team issued a stern warning to Waves blog Stray Cats, asking the latter to eliminate the adverse influence in the blog, apologize to their own side, and reserve the right to pursue legal liability. Shonen TV was the well-deserved leader among the local satellite TV stations in the country. The public relations and marketing team it had was very strong, and they reacted very quickly to unfavorable events. The slightest sign of trouble would be nipped in the bud. Shonen TV is an official Big V with more than 10 million fans on Waves blog. Once the 2 blog posts of its Super Singer official V were released, they received a large number of likes, comments and forwarding. Among them, there were many celebrities in the industry, well-known figures in the industry, and VIPs in blogs. The media influence of Shonen TV is so great that it is not something that a small V like Stray Cats can compete with. 2 blog posts directly crushed it, and the latter's blog was instantly blown up. The comment area was full of all kinds of cynicism, and even Lu Chen and Beijing Television were implicated. At 11:55, the Super Singer program team issued the 3rd blog post. This blog post praised Ling Xiaoxiao, believing that he is a leading figure in the new generation of singers, both in talent and character. Moreover, his original works are very in line with his age and temperament, so he has strong popularity and loyal fans. I wish him a great success in the upcoming national finals. This meaningful blog post also Ling Xiaoxiao himself and Xiaoxiao Support Group at the same time. Xiaoxiao Support Group is Ling Xiaoxiao's fan group, which currently has more than 100,000 members, and is very active on the blog. Ling Xiaoxiao himself responded 2 minutes later with a smiling face and the word thank you. But his fans were not so understated. Under the organization of the team's senior management, they swarmed to Stray Cats and Lu Chen's blog and directly attacked. The battle started in the early hours of the morning and did not end. Lu Chen was directly sprayed with dog blood. Because the 3 blog posts by Beijing television were released after Lu Chen's live broadcast, he didn't know what happened in the blog. After he came back from his morning exercise, he was reminded by Li Feiyu before he knew that he had been attacked. Li Feiyu was simply filled with righteous indignation. He slapped the table and said, "These brainless fans really don't know what they mean. Stray Cats is right. In terms of talent, strength and appearance, you can completely throw this Ling Xiaoxiao away." Lu Chen laughed involuntarily. Ling Xiaoxiao was from Shanghai. At the age of 21, he graduated from the music department of Shanghai Media University. He was handsome, fair-skinned, and dressed fashionably. He was the most popular type of fresh meat in the entertainment industry, and he was very good at attracting fans. So in terms of appearance, he was different from Lu Chen. Lu Chen was tall, handsome, healthy, and sunny. It was difficult to directly compare the two. After all, there were many differences in the aesthetic taste of the public. In terms of height alone, there was no problem for Lu Chen to throw Ling Xiaoxiao away. According to the internet, the latter was only 1.67 meters tall. He only reached 1.72 meters when he wore shoes that increased his height. On the other hand, Lu Chen was 1.82 meters tall without shoes. As for creative talent, Li Feiyu had even more to say. Look at this post. It says that 3 of Ling Xiaoxiao's songs are plagiarized from the 2 albums released in 2003 and 2005 by the former Korean boy group KDK. Many passages are obviously imitating KDK's songs. How can he say that he is the leader of the new generation? The Greater China Music Library was mainly aimed at domestic original music works. However, foreign works could also be registered through agents, and the copyright would be protected. However, due to the current weak crackdown on music piracy in China, there were not many people in Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea who were willing to put their works in the Greater China Music Library for copyright registration. This was because the benefits involved were very limited, and the copyright registration and maintenance fees were also high. This caused the relevant parties to lack the motivation to protect their rights. Therefore, this formed a loophole, causing many people in the domestic industry to like to follow the trend of foreign countries. They would buy cover songs copyright shamelessly, but if they were not, they would directly copy, imitate, and change the copyrights. They would openly promote it as their own work and form an assembly line packaging marketing model. This model paid attention to short and fast, low cost and quick results. It was regarded as a winning magic weapon by many entertainment media companies. Fast songs, divine songs, catchy songs, rap songs. Whatever was popular abroad, the trend would affect the domestic first. The result of the proliferation of the same magic weapon was to hit the domestic original power. Except for a few top composers, most of the middle and lower level songwriters found it difficult to get enough food and clothing. As a result, they had to change careers. For this phenomenon, there were also many insightful people in China who vigorously called for the revival of the original power. Some people even said that the laissez-faire of Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea was a deliberate act, and it was a slow poison to stifle domestic original work. This statement may have the flavor of conspiracy theory, but the prevalence of plagiarism and imitation in Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea was an indisputable fact. However, not many fans of idols cared about this. Their focus was on the appearance, gossip, and talent of the stars. It was enough for them to sing and dance. Of course, there were also many media and musicians who resisted this phenomenon. And those who experienced the era of pop classics in the 1980s and 1990s, after the initial novelty, were very disgusted with the foreign trend of the entertainment industry. In the spring, reaching the top of the original music chart was enough to explain the problem. This was the era of change, the worst era of pop music, and the best era. And Lu Chen happened to be in this era. Li Feiyu said. A lot of posts and blog posts saying that Ling Xiaoxiao plagiarized have been deleted. Shonen TV's power is great. De Chun, Shall we send a blog post to fight back? He ran to the studio early in the morning. As a result, he turned on the computer and saw the news in the QQ group. Only then did he know that Lu Chen's blog had been attacked. It was not easy to figure out the ins and outs of the matter, and he was also very annoyed in his heart. Super Singer eliminated Lu Chen in the audition stage, and even put the blame on him. The meaning in the third blog post can be seen by anyone with a discerning eye. It's simply unbearable. Li Feiyu has blocked and reported many IDs in the comment area, but he couldn't resist the other party's offensive. There was a belly full of anger in his heart. Fight back. Lu Chen thought about it and said calmly, "Don't worry, wait for me to figure things out." Li Feiyu was annoyed, and he was even more annoyed. Others have come to his door to slap his face. If he doesn't have a temper, is he still a man? Lu Chen didn't practice the ninja divine skill. But now that he has stepped into this circle, he is bound to face the ups and downs in the circle. It's not only useless to get angry, but it's easy to be talked about and put himself in a more disadvantageous situation. Therefore, it's necessary to fight back, and how to fight back beautifully is the key. It should be known that he is facing Shonen TV, a behemoth. It's impossible to gain the upper hand in this battle of public opinion by just relying on empty words. Moreover, the attitude of Beijing television is also very important. Since Beijing television hasn't responded yet, won't he become a target to attract firepower by rushing forward? Li Feiyu hesitated for a moment and asked, "Do you want to close the comment area first?" Closing the comment area. Then others won't be able to scold even if they want to. It's also a way to stay out of sight. No need. Lu Chen flatly rejected. Let them scold. The fiercer they scold now, the happier they will be in the future. He took out his cell phone and dialed a familiar number. Lu Chen speculated that there was a 90% chance that this matter was caused by this person. He had a hunch. Now is the time to ask for an explanation. "I thought you would call me last night." Chen Jianhao's voice came from the other side of the phone, laughing. "I didn't expect it to be so late. I'm a little disappointed." Chapter 114. As the saying goes, the older the ginger, the spicier. Lu Chen called Chen Jianhao with the intention of denouncing him, but he was taught a lesson by the other party first. He knew the news a little late. Although for Lu Chen now, it didn't matter much if he knew that he was being defamed sooner or later. But when he became a real star in the future, if his reaction was still so slow, he would suffer. Because a star's every move, every word, and every deed would often be exposed to the public's eyes. When encountering a disadvantageous situation, the faster the reaction, the better. The more timely the handling, the better. In the final analysis, the main reason was that Lu Chen didn't have anyone to rely on. Since he chose to develop independently, he must build a strong team to support him behind the scenes. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to go far. Chen Jianhao said, "Didn't you set up a studio? Hurry up and recruit a few useful people." Lu Chen must listen to the former boss's experience, but he wouldn't be easily taken away from the rhythm and forget the most important thing. "Brother Kenho, I have already recruited people. Let's get down to business." Chen Jianhao smiled and said, "Of course, I know what you want to ask." "That's right. I asked Stray Cats to post the post. His information was also revealed by me. Are you satisfied?" Sure enough, Lu Chen, who got the real answer, wasn't angry because he believed that Chen Jianhao wouldn't harm him. Lu Chen was curious about the other party's connections. "Is this person your friend?" Stray Cats was a small V in the Waves blog and a famous ID in the Sky forum. They were best at exposing information in the entertainment industry. As a bar owner, Chen Jianhao was actually very familiar with this person. Lu Chen couldn't help but ask a few more questions. Maybe in the future he could ask this great god for help. "Don't think too much," Chen Jianhao said. "I'm not familiar with him. He lives abroad and has a friend to help him. Anyway, you don't have to worry now. This matter isn't over yet. As for the blog, you don't have to do anything. Just keep quiet and wait for a good show." Chen Jianhao seemed to have some kind of trump card, so he spoke with great confidence. Lu Chen chose to trust him and said, "All right then, I'll wait to watch the show." After ending the call with Chen Jianhao, he said to the expectant Li Feiyu, "Don't worry about it for now. Peter Pan, who was full of courage, immediately became like a deflated ball, wilting. Lu Chen patted him on the shoulder and comforted him. "We're not admitting defeat. Let's finish our work first." As soon as he finished speaking, a loud knock came from outside. It was the office desks, chairs, counters, and sofas that Lu Chen had ordered earlier. In addition to the large items, there were also 2 installation staff from the manufacturer. They were directly assembled on the spot. In order to speed up the efficiency, Lu Chen and Li Feiyu helped together. They were busy until noon, and all the desks and chairs were installed in place. The layout of the studio's front desk, reception room, and office area was basically all completed. Although there were no luxurious and exquisite decorations, it was clean and tidy enough, showing a bit of a new atmosphere. They ate takeout for lunch, and in the afternoon, they still had to install computers, printers, and set up the network. While Lu Chen was busy setting up the office, the storm caused by the Stray Cats blog post in Wave's blog did not subside because of the silence of the people involved. Instead, it showed signs of becoming more and more intense. Ling Xiaoxiao's fans continued to rush into Lu Chen's blog. In addition, there were a large number of passers-by. His comment section was a mess. In addition to cynicism and abuse, there were even some guys who deliberately posted some bad information to pollute the page, causing official administrators to come out and ban many accounts. Originally, Lu Chen and Ling Xiaoxiao did not know each other, and Lu Chen did not say anything against Ling Xiaoxiao. The two were like 2 parallel lines, and there was no possibility of them intersecting. Stray Cats' blog post pushed Lu Chen to the teeth of the storm overnight. In the end, he compared Ling Xiaoxiao with Lu Chen. As a result, Lu Chen was innocent, and he became the target of Ling Xiaoxiao's fans. However, it was very abnormal for it to reach such a level. After all, the matter was not started by Lu Chen. Now he seemed to be the culprit, and the target of tens of thousands of people's curses. Anyone with a discerning eye could see the problem. There was no doubt that someone was adding fuel to the fire behind this matter, hyping up Ling Xiaoxiao and suppressing Lu Chen at the same time. Is shonen TV so easy to provoke? And Lu Chen also has a lot of fans on Wave's blog. Seeing such a situation, they must come out to refute. However, their counterattack lacks strength and organization, and they are not the opponent of a large group of Xiaoxiao support group at all. Lu Chen didn't respond, nor did Beijing Satellite TV. And the stray cat, which caused the incident, seemed to be mute. No matter how many people bombarded it, it didn't make a sound. It inevitably made people feel that the expert was really guilty, and didn't dare to speak nonsense. Tian, not sure what to say. At 7 p.m., a judge of Super Singer spoke on his blog. This judge is Zhang Xiaoan, a variety host of Shonen TV. He is also a celebrity in the circle, with more than 5 million blog fans. He participated in the auditions and the preliminary competition, but did not show his face in the later promotion competition. He admitted in his blog that he was one of the judges who eliminated Lu Chen in the audition. The reason was that Lu Chen's performance at that time was not good, his playing and singing lacked professional standards, and the original works he brought were basically semi-finished products. In contrast, when Lu Chen reached the top 16 of 32 in Singing China, his performance was much better, and his work has been greatly improved. If he had even half the same level at that time, he would have passed. Tian, Zhang Xiaoan's blog post is undoubtedly to clear himself and Super Singer of responsibility. It's not that we don't want it, but Lu Chen's performance is too bad. Zhang Xiaoan's reversal of black and white is quite clever, because in Stray Cats' blog post, there is a video of Lu Chen's appearance in Singing China. Plus he is also the songwriter of In the Spring. To say that he has no talent is an insult to others' IQ. Moreover, Zhang Xiaoan pointed out 2 sentences at the end of the blog post, suggesting that Lu Chen is using Super Singer to deliberately hype up. Perhaps Lu Chen's elimination in the audition of Super Singer was a pre-planned means of hype. It has to be admitted that this little black guy in the variety world is very good at blackening, which has aroused the resonance of many fans. The number of people who went to Lu Chen's blog to abuse him has increased sharply. At 7:20, another judge of Super Singer, Jenny Chan, also posted a blog post. Compared with Zhang Xiaoan's subtle hints, the returnee star's remarks were much more explosive. She bluntly said that the reason why Lu Chen was eliminated, in addition to his work, was that Lu Chen did not respect his seniors and spoke rudely to the judges in the audition. Jenny Chan wrote in her blog post, "As a newcomer, respecting your seniors is a basic accomplishment. Sorry, I can't see this kind of accomplishment in this person. Maybe he was very respectful when facing a big star, but it only made me more disgusted. If I had to choose again, I would still press that red light." At the end of the blog post, Jenny Chan Zhuang Hao, the third judge in the audition. At that time, Lu Chen once stood on top of Zhuang Hao and almost couldn't step down. Zhuang Hao quickly replied, "Young people always need to be given a chance. His songs are pretty good." The two of them sang and matched each other, firmly pinning a big hat of disrespecting his seniors on Lu Chen's head. And they also gave his fans a strong hint that Lu Chen is the kind of newcomer who likes to play big and doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Don't look at his modest appearance in Singing China. In fact, it's all pretending. Because the judges of Singing China are Chen Feier and Tan Hong. Which newcomer dares to put on a bad face in front of these two big names? Well, on Lu Chen's head was added a hat called Two-Faced Three-Dagger. Zhang Xiaoan, Jenny Chan and Zhuang Hao, three well-known figures in the circle, together with the three previous blog posts posted by the program team, made Lu Chen's image extremely bad in the eyes of fans who didn't know the truth. In addition to continuing to attack Lu Chen and Stray Cats, some people even went to Chen Feier and Tan Hong's blogs and asked the two big names to eliminate Lu Chen in the final of Singing China, Beijing Singing Area, that is, in the top 10 of 16 competition, on the grounds that his character is too bad. Neither Chen Feier nor Tan Hong replied, nor did they comment. What have they not experienced in the circle? How could they be fooled by others, and they will not lower their status? As the matter got worse and worse, Lu Chen became famous on the blog this time. Unfortunately, it's a notorious reputation. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Li Bai, also known as Li Mubai, called Lu Chen. "General Lu, what's going on? You've been slandered on the blog." He was so noisy and anxious that he even roared out dirty words. Our Lu Jiejun group is about to explode. Peter Pan asked everyone to stay calm, but everyone can't help it. We can't eat such a loss for nothing. Lu Chen had just finished tidying up the studio and was sweating. Hearing Li Mubai's roar, he said with a smile, "You told everyone not to worry because now is not the time to fight back. Let's wait." "Still waiting," Li Mubai said discontentedly. "I've been stepped on by others to shit and pee on my head. I can't stand it." Lu Chen didn't want to bear it either, but Chen Jinhao hasn't moved yet. Even if he fought back, he has no weapon. But Lu Chen can't cool Li Mubai and Lu Jiejun's blood. He thought about it and said, "Well, give me another hour. You organize everyone to prepare first, and then we'll go together." If Stray Cats are still silent before 9 o'clock, then Lu Chen will make his own voice. Even if the situation is unfavorable, he will fight to the end. If he can't bear it, then there's no need to bear it anymore. Chapter 115. If today's Waves blog is voted as the king of misery, Lu Chen admits that he is the second, and Stray Cats dares to call themselves the first. Lu Chen's latest blog post has more than 110,000 comments, 90% of which are scolding him, while Stray Cats' blog post has more than 3 times as many comments, reaching more than 370,000. As for the content of the comments, it goes without saying. The power of fans is undoubtedly terrible, especially when brain dead rice is dispatched. It is simply killing God and Buddha. Just a kitten, directly turned into ashes. As a famous explosive expert in the Sky Forum, Stray Cats' performance on Waves blog is very poor. After being scolded, they have been playing the role of a coward. No matter how others abuse and tease them, they will not show their faces, as if they are guilty. However, when everyone thought that this blog controversy was over, and the Super Singer program team and Ling Xiaoxiao had won a great victory, at 8:37 p.m. Stray Cats updated his blog again. He posted a new blog post with only 2 words in it. Haha. Behind the haha, a video link was attached. Since the last blog post was posted to the present, Stray Cats' blog fans have increased by 200,000. Of course, these are not real fans. They are basically anti-fans and passers-by. Adding fans is nothing more than to get the news at the first time. So when this blog post was updated, The number of clicks and reposts was amazing. Then many people browsed the video. The length of this video is only 4 minutes and 27 seconds. The scene in the video is very familiar to everyone. It is the scene of the official audition of Super Singer. At the beginning of the video, a handsome young man came up to the stage with a guitar in his arms. Facing the eyes of the 4 judges, the handsome man said calmly, "Hello judges and teachers. I am contestant 0580, Lu Chun from Zhejiang." After introducing himself, he bowed to the judges, straightened up and continued, "Today, the song I brought to you is called, You Who Sat Next to Me. For teachers, please give me some advice. Is this the scolded Lu Chun? Is this his recorded video in the audition of Super Singer?" Everyone who saw this scene was stunned. There was something wrong with this scene. Didn't Jenny Chan say that Lu Chun didn't respect his seniors? She couldn't tell at all. He was clearly very polite. There were also quite a few people who immediately realized that this video would probably be very interesting. Since it was uploaded by Stray Cats, it would be strange if it wasn't his counterattack. But the question is, how did this person get the live recording video of Shonen TV Super Singer? If the video was harmful to Shonen TV, it should have been edited as soon as it was recorded. Other than ordinary netizens, there were also many people in the industry who paid attention to the blog. They were watching the blog debate with the intention of watching a good show. They never thought that there would be a reversal after the reversal. Stray Cats actually had a killer weapon that seemed to be able to turn the tables. There was going to be a great show to watch. Many people suddenly became excited, sitting in front of the computer or holding their mobile phones and staring at the screen, for fear of missing a frame of wonderful details. In the video, a female judge smiled and said, "Let's get started. You have 2 minutes to sing well." This judge is Luya, a well-known female singer. Everyone knows her. It seems that Luya didn't make a sound in this blog battle. Lu Chun nodded and began to sing with his guitar in his arms. "Will you remember tomorrow, the diary you wrote yesterday?" Drop. The shrill sound not only shocked Lu Chun at the scene, but also startled all the people who watched the video. What the F***ck is wrong with you? He just sang 2 sentences and you pressed the red light? Everyone is not a fool. It would be strange to say that there is nothing strange about it. The judge who pressed the first red light was Zhang Xiaoan. Didn't Zhang Xiaoan criticize Lu Chun's performance for not being good enough? His playing and singing level is amateur, and his work is still a semi-finished product? He can come to such a conclusion after just listening to 2 sentences. It is too amazing. Many people who have run to Lu Chun's blog to scold him have a feeling of, what the F***ck? It seems that they have made a fool of themselves. But Lu Chun was not seriously affected by the first red light. He continued to sing. "Will you remember tomorrow, the you who loved to cry the most?" Drop. The second red light lit up. What the heck? If the first red light could make people pinch their noses, the second red light was completely unbearable. Lu Chun's performance was not as bad as expected. In fact, it was quite good. Even if there was a problem, shouldn't he let him sing a few more sentences before making a judgment? How could he suddenly hit him with the stick again and again? Those who watched the debate easily thought of the Stray Cats' theory of suppression. Did Lu Chun offend someone? Otherwise, why would he be targeted by the 2 judges to such an extent? And the one who pressed the second red light was precisely Jenny Chan, who criticized Lu Chun for not knowing how to respect his seniors. It seems that there is really no need to respect such a senior. What surprised people was that Lu Chun, who had 2 red lights extinguished in a row, was still able to maintain his state. He continued to play and sing calmly. Finally, the song ended. "Thank you." He bowed to the judges with his guitar in his arms. Seeing this scene, those who were very disgusted with Lu Chun were silent. Ask yourself, if you were Lu Chun in the face of such a situation, can you still maintain politeness? It is really funny to say that he does not respect his seniors. Next came the judges' comments. Zhang Xiaoan said, "The style is too old, and the melody is average. You have to continue to work hard." Jenny Chan commented, "You play the guitar well, but we chose the best singer, so I can only say sorry. I hope you work hard next time." Luya smiled and said, "Lu Chun, I think your work is very good." Beep. Before she finished speaking, The fourth judge sitting on the far left pressed the red light. Zhuang Hao pressed the red light and eliminated Lu Chun. He said with no expression, "I agree with Zhang Xiaoan's opinion. Your song style is too old, and the melody is familiar. It lacks enough originality and is too amateur, so it cannot be passed." His words were full of disdain and sarcasm. But Lu Chun was still very polite. He bowed and said, "Thank you for your comments for judges." Seeing this, many people couldn't stand it anymore. They were feeling embarrassed for Lu Chun. He obviously played and sang very well, but he was belittled to be worthless. How did these judges do it? Lu Chun endured it and still maintained etiquette and respect for the judges. It was precisely this politeness and respect that made people angry. At this time Lu Chun straightened up, stared at Zhuang Hao and said in a deep voice, "But I don't agree with teacher Zhuang Hao's opinion. My song has been registered in the Greater China Music Library long ago. There is no plagiarism or imitation. Besides, someone offered 100,000 yuan to buy it. He was very confident. But I didn't sell it." Happy. That's how it should be. Lu Chen's polite response did not make people feel that there was a problem with his attitude, but it was reasonable. Was this what Jenny Chan said about not having the quality of a newcomer and not knowing how to respect seniors? "I bought a watch last year." Just then the camera switched and gave Zhuang Hao a big close-up. The editor and music critic of the fashion magazine Beauty blushed and his lips trembled. Ha ha ha. Many people laughed. He deserved it. Lu Chun did not give Zhuang Hao a chance to fight back. He nodded at Lu Ya and left freely. The camera faithfully recorded the scene. The video was not over. The next moment, Zhuang Hao slammed his pen on the table and scolded angrily. Young people nowadays are getting more and more impolite and not modest at all. No wonder the atmosphere of pop music is getting worse and worse. What the hell are they? Zhang Xiaoan said with a sullen face. Yes, so we should be more strict. Those with bad conduct should be eliminated. Otherwise, Shonen TV will lose face in front of the people of the country. Jenny Chan picked up her notebook and fanned herself hard and sneered. With such a temper, no wonder someone wants to teach him a lesson. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He will cry soon. So that's it. Everyone understood. If they still did not understand, they could only say that it was time for them to take their medicine. Lu Chun was wronged. Stray Cats' revelations were completely true. Shonen TV was doomed. The most contemptible thing was these judges. Except for Lu Ya, who had no problem, the other three judges were simply lying with their eyes open. They joined hands to suppress Lu Chun, and also inverted right and wrong in their blog. Someone wanted to teach him a lesson. Countless people felt that they had been fooled. Zhang Xiaoan, Jenny Chan, and Zhuang Hao probably thought that the live video would be cut, so they dared to be so unscrupulous. They probably never dreamed that their words and deeds would be exposed. Who knew what else they would say now? Stray Cats' new blog post was forwarded exponentially, and it was quickly forwarded to forums and post bars. More people rushed to Shonen TV and the blogs of Zhang Xiaoan, Jenny Chan and Zhuang Hao. They wanted to seek justice for their insulted feelings, and at the same time, seek justice for Lu Chun. At 8:49 Lu Chun, who was sitting in front of the computer, finished reading Stray Cats' blog post. He understood that this was the trump card that Chen Jianhao had been hiding for a long time. The latter deliberately waited for the incident to ferment, and when a considerable number of people jumped out, he brazenly launched a fatal blow and caught them all in one fell swoop. This slap to the face could probably knock all the teeth out of people. Too ruthless. But I like it. Lu Chen's lips curled up into a smile. He sent the video link to Li Mubai. This is a weapon to fight back. Lu Chen did not care how this video came about. He knew that it was time for him to speak up. Li Mubai quickly replied. Understood, I will let them know that our Lu Jiejun is not made of clay. If a tiger doesn't show its power, it will be treated as if it's seriously ill. Chapter 116. Xiangnan Shaoqing, Shonen TV. Although it's already more than 11 o'clock in the evening, the TV broadcasting building is still brightly lit and busy. As a leading role in local satellite TV stations, after more than 20 years of development, Shonen TV can be said to be one of the hegemons on the domestic TV screen. In particular, The excellent production of variety shows has emerged one after another, which has led the industry for a long time. Therefore, in terms of advertising performance, apart from the giant CCTV, Shonan TV is the best. With abundant funds and flexible systems, the film and television variety shows under the satellite TV have repeatedly created miracles in the ratings. However, in recent years, Shonan TV has also been strongly challenged by Donghai Satellite TV, Jiangning Satellite TV, and other peers. Therefore, the major program groups under the satellite TV are facing pressure from all sides. In the program department on the 17th floor of the satellite TV building, the conference room was full of seats, and the atmosphere was tense. On the projection screen hanging on the wall, the picture is in a paused state, showing the scene of Super Singer Beijing singing area audition. And the 4 judges are still vivid in their minds. And one of them was sitting in the conference room, looking gloomy and embarrassed, looking restless. For this well-known host of Shonan TV, tonight is destined to be a day of shame for him, Zhang Xiaoan. It's not terrible to do something wrong. What's terrible is to make mistakes again and again. But if it is made public for hundreds of millions of people to see, the result is not terrible, but terrible. Lu Chen's elimination by the Super Singer program team was originally just a trivial matter. If a newcomer wants to set off a storm, Xiangnan Satellite TV can crush him without any effort. Tian, Super Singer. A few hours ago, Zhang Xiaoan thought so, and he was even proud of his blog post. His words were modest, sincere, and full of demeanor. He calmly stepped Lu Chen into the mud. Coupled with the tacit cooperation of Chen Jinni and Zhuang Hao, he directly knocked a big nail in the coffin of the little newcomer, who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. However, he or everyone did not expect that just over an hour later, things took a shocking turn. The blogger named Stray Cats actually broke out the audition video of Lu Chen's elimination. According to the rules of program production, shouldn't such a recorded video be edited and deleted at the first time? How could it be leaked out? How can it be in the hands of others? When Zhang Xiaoan saw the video on the internet, his heart was like 10,000 grass mud horses galloping past, trampling his dignity to pieces. Too shameful. This video, which was less than 5 minutes long, forcibly peeled off the layer of modesty, sincerity, elegance, and kindness on his face. The netizens all over the country clearly saw the nature of the hypocrisy inside. On the way to the conference room after receiving an urgent notice from the program group, he was in a daze. Zhang Xiaoan knew that he was in big trouble this time. You're in big trouble. The deputy director of Shonan TV, Ji Ruizai, who is in charge of the program department, slapped the table and roared, "The station attaches so much importance to you, and how many resources have been tilted to you. But you actually made such a big mess for the station. Tell me yourselves, what should we do now? Who will clean up this mess for you?" There was silence in the conference room, and a few unrelated people smoked in silence, with very ugly expressions. Ji Ruizai was really angry. He only learned about it in the evening, and he had no idea that it would cause such serious consequences. Ji Ruizai can endure the deception of the people in the program team below. The atmosphere in the TV station can't be formed in a day or two. Even if he, a new young man, wants to carry out reform, he has to take it slowly and not be in a hurry. What he can't bear is that as the current trump card of variety show, Super Singer program team has actually leaked their own bottom line, been caught by such a big handle, and fallen into an extremely disadvantageous passive situation. Tian, what a shame and humiliation. Ji Ruizai also knows that now is not the time to pursue responsibility. The key is how to calm the storm and eliminate the impact. Xiangnan Satellite TV is too popular. In recent years, its development has been smooth. As the saying goes, a tall tree attracts the wind. I don't know how many pairs of eyes are staring at it in the open and in the dark. With such a scandal, it would be strange if no one makes waves. Especially this time, Super Singer has set up the Beijing division and fought with Beijing Television's Singing China. It's impossible for Beijing Television to not have any ideas. Maybe the video leak incident has something to do with them. But there is no evidence to prove this. There are many possibilities for the recorded video to be leaked. Even if Shonan TV immediately launches an investigation, it is unlikely to come to light in a short time. After all, the place where the video was leaked was Beijing, not Shacheng, the base camp. Therefore, Ji Ruizai urgently convened a meeting with relevant people, but the topic of discussion was not accountability. The deputy director of the marketing department hesitated and said, "Wave's blog has been contacted. The other party promised to control the spread of the situation. But it is impossible to delete all related blog posts. The Sky Forum is also in contact. We will try to eliminate the adverse impact to the greatest extent." Shonan TV's marketing department is in the forefront of many departments of the TV station in terms of strength and power. Once an accident occurs, the marketing department will carry out an emergency public and use the network resources of satellite TV to solve it. Shonan TV and Wave's blog have a long-term cooperative relationship. If it's not a big deal, it's easy to suppress it. But tonight's situation is obviously unusual. The deputy director couldn't help glancing at Zhang Xiaoan, with infinite resentment in his eyes. What is a pig teammate? This is it. He only needs to move his fingers to post a few blog posts, and the marketing department will wipe his ass for him. He doesn't know how much effort it will take. The deputy director of the marketing department has the heart to eat Zhang Xiaoan alive. Ji Ruizai also wants to eat people, but as a senior leader in the TV station, he must start from the overall situation. Now that things have happened, it's too late to regret. We can only find a way to solve it. All you can do is to continue to do this program seriously, and there can't be any more mistakes. The judges of the national finals don't let that Jenny Chan go up. And Zhuang Hao notify him to terminate the contract. As for who else is responsible, the station's intention is not to pursue it for the time being. It's fine as long as you know it. In addition, Zhang Xiaoan. Ji Ruizai's cold eyes stared at the culprit. Give your blog account and password to the marketing department. You will be suspended from work from today onwards. Wait for further notice when you will resume work. Zhang Xiaoan's face instantly turned as white as paper. His lips moved a few times, wanting to defend himself, but in the end, he deeply lowered his head. Zhang Xiaoan knew that he is really finished this time. Don't think that he is a bit famous among the variety hosts. There are countless competitors waiting for him to get the position, and they can't wait for him to leave as soon as possible. After causing such a big mess, he still wants to occupy the position and not leave. Dream on. How ruthless. Although they said that they will not pursue the responsibility for the time being, the butcher's knife that was raised high is still coming down. In the eyes of others, they can't help but feel a little sad, but it is nonsense to say that they sympathize with him. As the director of the program department, Ji Ruizai needs to have an explanation whether to the top or to the bottom. Zhang Xiaoan is undoubtedly the best scapegoat, and the best target to kill the chicken to scare the monkey to frighten the thief. If he doesn't die, does everyone else have to be tied up with him? After setting the tone, Ji Rui picked up the cup and took a sip of the tea that was already cold. He hooked his left index finger on the table and said painfully, "Comrades, you must remember this lesson. The great situation that Shonen TV is in now is not easy to come by, and we really can't afford to waste it again." After a moment he asked again, "What's the difference between their ratings and ours now?" Ji Ruizai's question was a bit inexplicable, but someone quickly replied, "In the last episode ours was 3.75%, and theirs was 3.49%, a difference of 0.26%. Only then did Ji Rui nod his head. "It's only 0.26% difference. That's already very close. Also, we don't know how big of an impact this incident will have. You guys have to do your best to produce a good new episode to atone for your mistakes." The last 4 words were said with great emphasis, and it can even be said to be the final verdict on the members of Super Singer program team. You are all guilty, but for the sake of the overall situation, you are not immediately convicted. The faces of many people present changed. Ji Ruizai didn't feel that there was anything wrong with what he said. Before the meeting, he had already learned the whole story, and even watched the video of Lu Chen's competition. Such a talented singer-songwriter was forced to go to his opponent under the suppression of his own side. It was a completely unforgivable mistake, and a crime against Shonen TV. Jiruatesai also knew who the real initiator was, but the other party had a deep network and a strong background, and was inextricably linked to the top management of the TV station. Even if he wanted to move the other party, he would not be able to do so. Therefore, Jiruatesai decided to endure it for the time being, because even if he didn't speak, someone would not be able to help it. Then there would be a good show to watch. He didn't mind giving it another push when necessary. As for Zhang Xiaoan, who was said to have an ambiguous relationship with a leader in the station, as a newcomer, if he wanted to establish his authority, how could he not cut off a person with weight? Thinking of this, Jiruatesai slammed his cup on the table. Meeting dismissed. When the emergency meeting of the Shonen TV program department ended, the battle in the Waves blog was still in full swing. Tens of thousands of Lu Chen's fans, with Lu Jiejun as the main force core, under the command of Li Mubai and Li Feiyu, launched a tide-like attack on the selected target. Many posts have been successfully destroyed. The Waves blog naturally became the last and most important position. If they don't fight back all the humiliation they had suffered before, they will never give up. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.